the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada. Long ago, these three nations gave us one host in harmony, right? And the schedule made sure all the nations had balance between them. But then everything changed when the schedule nation attacked. 100 episodes passed, and all our hosts were not on the same episode for such a long time. But at this new crib, at the new Mikasa, we have found a new schedule. And hopefully, me and my brother, I fucked it up. We're gonna save the world. Boom. God damn it.
You did so good for so long. I was like, yes, we are avatars. I'm an airbender. I was like in the zone, you know what I'm saying? And you fucked it all up.
It can't be an intro if it's not scuffed. So welcome to FNTASIA episode 25. I think it is a quarter of the way for our inaugural 100th episode, which we'll have with Jeff Bezos on the moon. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but it's in our contract. So it's going to happen.
Nice.
But yeah, we're all
I'm
here.
all for that.
It's pretty sick.
I do like the new place. I think this gives you space. You know?
Yeah.
The old you did have space at one point, but then you just got like all cocooned up in the room. Now I need to see that mic back. I need to see you need to put a bed in the background.
Let me show you this. No bed in the background.
And then
I got
you need
this, baby.
Oh.
It is litmus.
Wait, is
Litmus
that mine? Is that the one that I have, or is this the one that you use for the
Audio Technica? No,
okay,
it's like
okay,
a
that one's
BPSH.
nice. That one's nice. I was gonna say if you got mine, you're fucked, because that shit hurts my ears.
Yeah, but
looks clean though.
Yeah, a bed in the background, couch in the background. Someone's telling me to get like men and women in the background, like hire them per broadcast. I don't know what's going on, man. Y'all need to.
Levin's rate is $1 million per day, just so you know. So.
Oh yeah, true. If he has a Guild jersey on, it's doubled actually. If he's in picture too. Yeah, it's wild.
Money 11, they call me Money 11.
We got a bunch of cool things to talk about rather than results. Yeah. Who's the best? Is reverse 2K falling off? I mean, I guess we still have to.
Why are you acting like that's like bad?
No, it's not bad at all. It's not bad at all. It's just, it's a nice. It's like when you have. It's cool. You know what I mean? Like it's just a different.
Yeah, it's,
you know what I mean?
When we talk about like more casual shit and not as hardcore competitive, it's a little bit more your pace. I understand.
It's 100%, man. Talk about the lore. You know what I'm saying? If you got some lore conversation in there, what was the best POI? Type 1 or 2 in the chat. Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the true
At least
essence.
20% of viewers just clicked off when you mentioned lore.
But let's talk about the first thing, which is item slots that got added in to Fortnite. Something that honestly, if it was there in the beginning of the game, I would have won World Cup. I'll tell you right now, and I would have beat you, Bala, and Levin at every 1v1 we've had in creative. Because man, switching to I for a bunch of people who play BRs and other games, and you have your shotgun slot on 4. As the default, it's tough when everything spawns at the 1 slot, but now it doesn't matter. And this is honestly my favorite change of all time in Fortnite. Boom.
It's funny because we were talking about last week or 2 weeks ago with DJ, how like all this stuff that they've like said and would be like quality of life improvements, like whatever. Finally, there's actually something. I feel like this is the first thing we've gotten in so long that's like, wow, this is an option change, customization change that really is nice. I mean, it's really nice. It's not as optimized as I'd want it, but this has been a long time coming.
Yeah, and like you said, these sort of quality of life improvements should have been made like a long time ago. I feel like it used to always be the running like sort of joke that like we all would get happy for Epic adding something that they should have just had in the game from like ages ago, but then like when they finally add it, we all give them credit, and it's like that was always the running joke, and this feels like that, but at least we have it, right? It's cool. Like you said, maybe it could be optimized better, but no, I'm like Shai said, maybe he would have won World Cup if this was in the game earlier.
I think it's still not finished though. If you guys haven't played for some reason, just keep up with the podcast and whatnot, and don't actually dive in the game. There's like weapon classes such as AR, shotgun, SMG. That's the obvious thing. The big one is like these niche weapons. So like if you have a harpoon or a rift to go, it's put into like utility or consumable. I know personally, and honestly, I see a bunch of people, depending on what item it is, it goes in a different slot depending on like what items you have. So to explain this kind of, if I have a shotgun, AR, and SMG, it's not the same as me just having a shotgun AR. I use things in different slots like that. So if there was like a third tier of customizability where we could really get custom with it, I feel like there's still lots of room to grow with this thing. If they move with it, I don't think they will, but there's still a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's the way to do it's like there's the consumable slot that kind of fits so many different things that just like generic, and nobody should be. I didn't use it because it just throws things in wrong places for me. You know what I'm saying? So, I do think that it's actually going to be impossible to do everything that everybody wants with a preferred item slot thing. So this is probably just where they should leave it, because otherwise it's getting into, for me, for example, how I would have it is I want my second shot is always shotgun, right? That's fine. Then my third slot is my swap, not an SMG or AR, but one of the two. And then my first slot is utility, but not if it's like an RPG. If it's an RPG, I never want it in 1 because then I accidentally shoot myself. So I put it in 4. And that will never, like, there's so much flowcharty bullshit in that, like, process that it's just me. And that's never going to be figured out by that. So I think just leave it as is and people figure it out.
Nice. Yeah.
This is really good for controller players, too, because their inventory management, like,
and they've been struggling for ages as well, so this will be nice for them.
We were talking to Lupian about that, right? When we were playing the Bugha mode, this man was really happy about it, about where you could put certain things. But yeah, definitely one change. Is there any other like QOL stuff that they said? I think the next thing that like was throwing this out there into the void to manifest Destiny, being able to queue up for a creative while we're going into a game or waiting for a game or something. That is still
this man
long
wants
way
that.
to change. Dude, that was like last summer, no? Or like 2 summers ago, maybe?
Yeah, dude, the issue is that creative just takes way too long to load into, and queue times are faster now. So it doesn't even, like, I don't even think that that's a thing that matters at this point. You know what I'm saying?
But it's like, I don't think it's about queuing and creative. Like, I think Rocket League has this thing, and like they also have Rocket League now, right? Where it's like, it's a complete offline map, individualized for you. Like, you could literally, if your internet connection dies, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm misremembering this, you could still play like that practice. It's just
that's
you
different.
with like a ball.
That's I wish they could do that. That'd be so sick.
Like,
That'd
literally
be so
give me
sick.
a 1x1 block.
Yo,
like
I have some other, that'd be like anything, right? You know, just like any way, aimbot, something, anything. Put me in Bullseye Bonanza. Like,
imagine.
Look at this. I just noticed this. What do I see here? Boys, it is a list of alterations. That is crazy.
Whoa.
There's actual like legit patch notes.
Notebook of changes of sorts. Notebook of changes. Allocation of differences here. That's crazy.
The thing is it's just bug fixes, not necessarily changes. But yeah, they disabled zip lines last way. Anyways, cool.
Well,
All right,
didn't we get an actual like constitution of corrections recently, and like people were like talking about like rip Hypex because his job's gone or something? Like I do remember seeing it on my timeline, but I didn't like investigate further.
I've blocked Hypex as a word on my off my timeline. So
did you block or did he block?
He unforgave.
Oh, we're getting into the juice here. Oh.
You know how it is. After that whole debacle, I'm over it. I'm actually just over it. Like a hurdle, we move. Like it's done. But yeah, that's preferred item slots. And we talked about how they pop off in modes like the Bugha mode, fast-paced mode. So let's talk about Bugha for a second before we dive into the mode real quick. My man has gotten an icon skin. The next Fortnite icon, Ninja's icon. That's verbatim. All right, off of the stream they all had with him, Ninja, and Graph G. But like, this is nuts and possibly the most accurate skin we have in terms of representing a player / entities like this. No?
Yeah, it's actually him.
Yeah,
I think Lucifer has one, right? Or am I bugging?
Lucifer has one, yeah.
Yeah, and I think her one's like very like accurate. Like it looks like her, but like Ninja's one, Graph G's one, you know, they're not like, you know. Ninja's one represents him. Like you see it and you think Ninja, but like this is actually.
You're saying Graph-G's not ripped, bro. What are you trying to beef with Graph-G, bro?
Look,
Listen,
habla
I'm just saying, I
español.
love the entire Latin
You
American
know,
nation. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you guys. Lemon up
Viva
early.
Español.
Latin
whatever it
American
is.
nation, this man said. He's Spanish, bro. He's not
Stop
even
trying to.
American.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you're the real problem, Shy Wager. You're
You're
the real
such a
problem here.
fucking idiot.
You know what I
There's
mean?
like some type of relation in between. You know how it goes. The
Cut it
derivatives.
out. Me and Gref G are
exponents,
we're boys.
brackets,
You know what I mean?
Why?
Don't
division,
try to do that to
multiplication.
me.
I'm
and
just
Gref
mad
G.
the first thing that you go for is, oh, this is the most accurate skin that we've got.
I don't know what to do, man.
Oh, no.
Do you guys like the pickaxe graphics
That's not
of
okay.
the icon skin?
You
No,
go to
what
the
is
fact that
important-
this is the. Go ahead, Levin. You're the real.
What-
I know you. I know you. You got me. You got me.
Yeah, I got you. What's important here is that they added a skin for Bugha as a, congratulations for his World Cup victory. And they've not given him like his actual skin from when he won World Cup. They've not like done anything with like Sentinels, or they've not even made like the colorway similar to what he was wearing. Like he's been put in the game and it's very much just like, Bugha. And I think a lot of people are frustrated because I think for a lot of people it was like, this is all hope lost for any possibility of orgs. Like if there was ever going to be epic collabing with orgs and getting things in the game, this would have been that first step. I think a lot of people were like, yeah, okay, so that's done then. That was my sort of thoughts on it.
Okay, I was gonna get there, but I was first gonna celebrate the fact that a fucking person from the competitive scene got an icon series skin. I think that's fucking lit. That's like the first step. To me,
Ninja's not from the competitive community.
Come on, man. Ninja did not get his skin because he's from the competitive community. Fuck off.
Look at him smiling.
You mean to tell me that Ninja didn't get skin because of his performance in Squad FNCS? Come on, bro. Like,
it did happen after that, huh? It did happen after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, stop being a casual, bro. He obviously got it because of if Ninja didn't get that FNCS result, he wouldn't have an icon skin, and you can't tell me otherwise. You can't.
So I think this opens the door for the future, and as long as people don't, you're shaking your head, but I mean, next World Cup winner, next type of
we still have
large
two
status
World Cup winners that don't have a skin.
Yes.
So
I'm so sorry.
that was
Oh,
that was what I had an issue with. And it didn't really pop up until I feel like it was maybe Courage or Lupo talking about it, where like it popped up initially as like a like 100% obviously that it's an issue that once again it's this whole duo World Cup didn't exist, like it was a fever dream. But then like looking at someone who's actually involved in like making it all, like I think it was GB, Lupo and Courage having a discussion, and it's like someone had a take of like, yeah, but like we all know that duos World Cup, like like that didn't really matter. Like solos was the real thing that.
Oh, you're talking about my
more.
tweet with GB, right?
Yeah. Then
hold on, let me pull this shit up.
I think it was your tweet with GB then. Yeah, everyone's kind of like, I guess I was reading a lot of tweets at the same time, but the general idea was that like even for someone who was involved in like hosting things or being just a little bit deeper than like the base level, it's like, man, still don't care about duos World Cup, like or those guys still don't get the respect that they honestly deserve. Even if it's like getting something in the game at all before we had the lucky landing trophies, and then like wherever those guys landed as well. I think it was Happy Hamlet that had that trophy there as well. But that's what it was. Like the emphasis was on solo. We all remember that. True. I think I read something like something else too.
This bugged me, man. Like you're right. It was like somebody was very involved, and he's the first and only technically. Where I'm like, really technically? Like, no, that's not the case. Like, how are you like that was it wasn't like I honestly I'm fine with like here's my thing. I think I'm fine with Aqua Nyrox not having a skin. And that I in all fairness, I think that their win was way cooler than, well, no, not cooler. I think that their win was underrated as fuck. Like, for some reason, nobody's paying attention to it. That is facts. And the reason for that is because it was later in the thing. But they had a way, like, in terms of crazy and, like, incredible feat that's not going to be reproduced, Bugha shit will happen again. Somebody will dominate a tournament like that. But Aqua and Nyrox, that comeback is not going to happen in years down the line. Like, multiple FNCSs, multiple World Cups, that shit will not happen again. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of skill. However, they just didn't grow. They didn't necessarily do like the crazy shit for the game that Bugha has been able to do, or for himself even, you know? So it's just like, would an icon skin with them be successful? Hell nah. So why would they do it? That just,
there's like two things with it, right? So first of all, it is the icon series, right? It's not the competitive winners series. It's not it is, you're right. Like, you have to have some type of brand recognition, some type of wave to be an icon. At the same time, I, since the day, don't think that Aqua and Nyrox have been set up the same way Bugha was to be able to have that brand.
Yes.
Why didn't all three of them go on Fallon together and have a long form interview with 2 trophies? And you go side by side. There have been cool moments of them talking to each other as well. Right? Like, they could have done a whole 3-piece type of thing. Like, you have 3 big winners, but it was just Bugha that was like, I feel like, I know that Aqua and Nyrox got their stuff in like EU with some news outlets or shows there or whatever, but like the big stuff, the push, I feel like was always on Bugha. And then unfortunately Benji didn't win anything, so EU got nothing. Like, that's literally what it's been since day one. Like,
it's true. Mongrel and Benji didn't win anything, so there was just like, there's been nothing.
But Bugha wasn't Mongrel and Benji before World Cup?
No, but but I think that almost plays into what Shai was saying, where like Bugha was like, he was just seen as more marketable and he was set up better, right? Like, I think that's a great point. He like, Nyrox, I know Nyrox specifically, I don't know much about Aqua after World Cup, but I know Nyrox specifically, like, in Norway, was almost like a celebrity in Norway for quite a while. Like, he was set up well in Norway. He did a bunch of stuff in Norway, but that's not the same sort of global eye that Bugha was in. Because even like with Bugha, like, my parents knew about Bugha, but they had no clue about Nyrox or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, even the news publications in EU in certain places just had their eyes on the spotlight. And a part of that does make me, a part of it I think is just sort of like the 3 mil thing going just to Bugha, like this one kid won 3 mil. Even though like the idea of 2 people winning 1.5 is crazy, but it's like just Bugha winning 3 mil was just like the headline for everything around the world in global news.
Yeah. GB's right.
I think that's what I was about to say too. Like, GB's right. Yeah.
GB is right. The focus was not on duos, bro. Duos was like it was crammed in between like the main event and like all the celebrities come in, and like it didn't even have like it didn't reveal the stage. It didn't, like, there was nothing special. But Solo World Cup had Marshmello open up. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had a fucking concert with Marshmello right beforehand. Duos World Cup is definitely like not. And the other thing too is that there's just so many solo players. Everybody's trying to figure out. Like, to this day, the conversation still has not shifted. Even though we've been 3 trio seasons in a row, going on 4. Even though that's been the case, everybody's still trying to figure out who the best solo player is more than anything. Like, that's the narrative that people care about more than anything else. And I don't think that's going to change, especially if there's another solo World Cup. So yeah, I think the focus is always going to be there, no matter how hard I try. But GB's right. Duo World Cup just wasn't that important. It had less prizing, Yeah. It straight up just had less prizing for some of the. I think second place didn't even make $1 million each, right? Whereas it was down to third place in solos who were making $1 million.
Yeah, and it's just like, I think if you're Epic, right? Because that's the biggest thing, right? It's always going to be like this as long as there's World Cups, because of how successful like the solo thing was, Bugha, all that. It will just be that, like, solo, I feel like will just always be the focus. The problem is that like I wish we could have seen, because like just big. I feel like I've talked about this on the pod so many times. There could have been like 4 Bugas, bruv. Like there could have been what? No, okay, not 4, but there could have been 3 Bugas, right? Like there should have been
At this
2 other
point,
World Cup
yes.
solo champions at this point. So like I
If it
just
was yearly.
wish, like yeah, I just wish we could have seen, like, you know, like if you've been watching Loki, like, you know, the variant, like I want to see the other timeline where there are 2 other Bugas and like what happens, because Bugha got his icon skin 3 years like late. Like, do you know what I mean? Because if there were the other 2 World Cup winners, would Bugha have had the skin? I don't think so.
I think he would have had it faster after winning the second World Cup.
But then why didn't he get it sooner then? I didn't even clock onto what you said. I didn't even catch in the moment. Yeah, that was good. Imagine if he did that. That would be crazy. But like, do you know what I mean? Like, because why is it now? And the marketing behind his skin has been the World Cup champion. There would have been 2 others. So what would they have done? Or would Bugha have just never gotten the skin?
Think about it this way, right? Like, it's obviously wasn't planned that 2 World Cups wouldn't happen, right? A lot of this icon stuff started happening afterwards as well, like after the entire pandemic situation became a thing. So when you have like disorganization thrown in as well, and people are playing catch up on a lot of stuff, this is just like, you know, one of the options that came up and was attacked at and executed well, right? It's not like this was all planned to be 2 years late, or, you know, we're working things down the pipeline. I feel like everyone's just still trying to get organized, because what you're saying, Levin, that probably was the plan, and there probably would have been something down the line. Like, they're already including these guys into the game. When you have to pivot, and then Party Royale becomes a thing, and then there's a dope way to do remote stuff that's still profitable or whatever with the marketing, blah blah blah. Like, you know, things change, and then you have to still have a certain
the Icon series didn't start until like a year ago, right? It's just like barely started.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it was more so like, I almost feel like it was like, hey, we need, you know, we want to do another icon skin. Like, who is there? And I think they would have thought, you know, we should, you know, see what we can do for the comp community. Like, we should look for one. And it was just like, you can't, like, not, you know, Benji's probably the option, but like, you got to give it to Big as a World Cup champion. There's more marketing potential there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's more so what it was, rather than it being like a reward for him winning World Cup. Do you know what I mean? I feel like it was, we need somebody who makes the most sense, more so than, remember Bugha winning the World Cup? We got to do something for him, man. Do you know what I mean? Those 2 are very different to me.
Yeah, I mean, we would never know. It's either or, but I feel like
if there were 2 other Bughas in the world anyways, it wouldn't matter, because Bugha's the first and technically only solo world, like the only World Cup champion. So
yeah, it's like that thing like everyone in Toronto did after the Raptors won, and there was like a little bit of a lull with the NBA season. It was like, yeah, we're the longest like champions of a single title. Like, no one
the
can take that away.
Raptors won the NBA championship?
What are you doing, man? Just come on, man. Just stop it.
Raps in 6, bro. Like, it was literally decreed in the script. Like,
what?
Just stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah.
He's trolling. Just stop it.
Okay,
I am trolling, but there was a legit moment like 2 months ago where I had that moment.
There you go.
I was like, what the fuck? What happened last year? I was tripping balls.
That happened in a bunch of sports. I remember, like, I just recall seeing that for so many sports. Like, yeah, we're the longest reigning champions. Like, yeah, of course, there was a flipping lockdown. Like, it's so cringe, man.
But yeah, what also came from it though, and I feel like this is where, you know, it's not just who do we get for an icon skin, try to get something from comp, but it's comp focused with it. And this is the coolest thing. It's kind of an evolution of the icon arrangement. Is the Bugha mode itself, the Bugha late game LTM. I don't know what the super official name is. Bugha's late game. There we go. The apostrophes, the S's, the suffixes. But July 28th was yesterday. That tournament happened. The mode itself has evolved over time in terms of the zones, the late game and whatnot. It's essentially you drop into 3rd zone, and it's closing into 4th and then 5th and moving. So it is a lot of fun. It got a lot of people's revival for you know, the Fortnite fun back that might have retired. And honestly, it's a mode that people have been waiting for and asking for like 5 years. Like, the moment you play an endgame, in your mind, you don't even know it yet, but you ask for this mode. You literally ask for it the first time you play an endgame.
Hypex has literally never, he's never played an end game, and he hopped into this, and now he's like, dude, I want Bugha late game mode to be back.
They understand.
All the little Timmies have been introduced now to end game. It's I honestly think we've asked for this mode so many times before in the past, like on the show in Hotline FN, bro. Back to the depths you could go when we talk about all like the creative stuff and whatnot. And then Marvel came around. Marvel, whatever, probably was called Endgame, and they have literally Marvel superpowers in zones inside the map. I'm like, why can we not have Zone Wars on the real map? And they finally did it, and it's lit. It is, well, it was. Rest in peace, Bugha late game mode. It's gone at this point. It was the most fun I've had in a long time playing for it. I got you talk about bringing people back. I brought back so many people who were playing. It was like, this is fun. I would literally log on to play this. If the zones were fixed, if blah 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 blah, and all that stuff did kind of happen over time, because at first it was like fun. You could W key little Timmies and maybe that, but I was not gonna log on and play non-moving zone end games. You know what I'm saying? When they actually fix it, I would be playing this game almost 24/7 if this game was fucking in, and I could play a trio fill, or solos.
I'm lonely. I don't have friends, so not the no fill thing was like a real deal breaker for me. Like the first day I actually wanted to come on and play it, I had like 2 old people just like you guys, bringing people back who don't play the game anymore, and like one of them like cancelled, and so we were both just there like, oh, we can't play this, see you later. Like we're just screwed.
You know why Phil's not in it, right?
Why?
And this is, if they do figure out Phil, it solves the ultimate problem I've been asking for as well. Is it has arena points.
Yes.
So there can't be Phil. And if they somehow figure out how to do arena points with Phil, put that in the game. Like make that a thing.
Wait,
for
what do you
trios.
mean? What do you mean? How does Phil stop arena points? I don't get that.
I don't know, but like historically, from what I've been seeing, like there hasn't been any Phil modes and any arena point modes inside as well.
Yes. However, I remind you of Gauntlet, where you could play as a duo and you'd get arena points for yourself, and it'd be on a. Well, I guess. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't necessarily have to do with the fill.
Yeah, you cannot queue in and get random teammates.
That's
in
true.
Like an actual ranked system.
Okay, so here's the reason. Here's the reason, right? Yeah. The reason is because you have to have matchmaking for that, because you need a teammate who's close to your height points, and that is something that's clearly not implemented.
Because I feel like that could be like, everyone's asking for ranked or whatever. That could be an evolution of the game. Imagine a Phil only trios queue, and like you get the champs, and suddenly pros are filling into different squads, and there's like an MMR base. You got like Calc. Hen, who's playing on NA for some reason, and like Epic Whale, just like queuing on NA because the queue times are ass everywhere else, right? Half of OCs moved over to North America. North America has a crisis for housing because every 11-year-old has moved across the world to play ranked because it's popping in Fortnite. Like that is like I feel like the next step. But once they figure that out, this mode could be really sick. I feel like solos is the next step for this mode, anyways. I was surprised it wasn't solos in general, because Bugha solo World Cup champion, but
dude,
maybe
I feel like, okay, there's a couple of different things about like bringing this mode back and stuff that I want to get into, but thinking about solos specifically, I feel like people who hop into this game as a little Timmy, they would get the wrong impression from Endgame.
Even if they would, I don't think it's even about like giving people that impression. Just giving them a chance to play the game with a type of set loadout over and over again. Like it's not only to be super competitive. Like one of the best things about this.
That's what I'm saying. So like, if you put random person into solo endgame, they need to know how. Like they can't just get there. They have to have been there already. And I feel like in trios you can actually like be there already, because you have teammates who are backing you up, and you could be a little bot, but if you're in solos and you be a little bot, then you're just not gonna have fun in the mode at all.
No, you would over time, because once again, remember, it's a
over time, but they're gonna quit after 2 games.
If they would, then you would never see bots playing arena. then like every open lobby in arena would have so much.
No,
Many.
yeah, you would, because arena bots, you land somewhere random, you land somewhere in the outskirts, and then they have fun because they get through the game and then they die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with this is that, like, you know, the reason they also do that is that there's such a long time in when you make a mistake or try to key and you're asset keying, right? This is me in the mind of a bot, basically my regular self, anyways. But like, if you're in an actual game, the reason you're playing safe and hiding is because if you die, you have to go back in the queue, back into your drop, takes so long. That's a turn off experience. For this,
You're
drop in a
thinking,
late game,
you're thinking
yeah,
in
you get
your
stomped,
mind.
but
You're thinking in your mind, right? You like, oh, I'm wasting time, blah, 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 and I need to get. But they don't care about that. They literally have fun getting from point A, lucky landing, all the way on the outskirts to point B, final zone, like without seeing anybody. That's like.
Yeah, I actually can. I feel like I can speak to this a lot just because I really vividly
Because you
remember.
are.
No, but like I really vividly remember like my
Set yourself up
early
for that.
Fortnite matches with my friends, right? And that was a thing, right? Where we would be like, oh my God, if we just play safe, don't see anybody, it's just gonna be us and the last person. Then we can win. It's just one fight and we can win.
And
you can't get that. Like a noob can't get that from
Yes.
this mode.
You
because-
cannot win in this mode
Yeah.
as a noob. You
Yeah.
just have no chance, 0% chance.
But what I'm saying is, right, in the other mode, you would wait 25 minutes to have that one-off chance, right?
Well, at least you have
Trying
that
to
chance.
move around, there's a sense of randomness. In this mode, yes, you have a less chance. You can
Not
spam
less chance,
the same
0%
No, I
chance
know.
is what I'm saying in
Because
solos.
if you get into a lobby, like, right, like this mode goes on for 2 days. Third day's here. You're in a lobby, and the majority, if not everyone, is a noob. Timmy
That's not
boy.
true. That's not
Playing
true. That's not
passive,
true. That's not true. That's not true. Because I had two friends playing on, they hadn't touched it, and they played last night just before it got taken out, and those were not noobs in that lobby. They were not complete bots in that
Even
lobby.
if it was noobs in the lobby, they would have to have played the game for 2 days to get to that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, but like, I'm saying
Down
even
the
if they don't play, they
line,
pick it up.
sure. Down the line,
Yeah.
sure. But
I'm
as
just saying,
a
if you just
mode, a
spam
limited
the 10
time.
minutes over and over again, right? At some point, you'll have a moment where you follow the zone. No one's touched your box, and you get to spray the last guy on height.
I-
No,
I-
you
I-
won't get to that point.
I
You won't
honestly
get to
don't
that
think
point.
so.
We've been playing this mode, and there's a random bot squad alive just in their boxes at the end of the game. And they spray. Some people troll, they go for trick shots, they die. Like, it happens.
I've
There's no
not
bots
seen
that live till the end.
You're playing in a lobby with a good team because you're the good team who's kill all the other fucking
No, I
bot
understand,
teams.
but the good team kills all the bot teams. The one bot team still has a chance to win.
They
at
don't.
the very end.
Yes, they do because it's trios. That's my point.
Okay.
But if it was solos, they wouldn't even
Exactly.
have any hint
Yes,
of a chance.
that's my point.
Even if it's a final, like, random 4 people alive, you're wrecking everyone. The other 3 are noobs,
The
and last
person
2
who
noobs
is the
somehow
best
start
will win
spraying
that
you.
situation. The
No, because
person who
even-
is the
What I think too as well is, it's I know it's gonna sound like me, but if you watch when Mama Benji Fishy first started playing the game and started streaming it, right? Like, you watch her games, it's literally like perfectly where you can just camp all game, and you can, like, in a regular Fortnite game, in a regular arena, or just regular solo, you can do that. And you can get to a situation where it's 1v1 versus the last person, and you could have just not even seen anyone the whole game, but you cannot get that in this game just because of like where it's the end game circles and you are close together. Like, eventually it gets to move in zones almost every single time, but you, like, that doesn't happen in the regular games, which is the point, right? And even in the regular arena game at, like, what's the one after opens?
Contenders.
Contender. Even in the contender game, like, the zone won't like fully close. So like, it is just way
Okay.
easier. And that experience, and the thing is, right, maybe you can get that, Shayo, but what you'd have to do to get that versus just playing a regular arena game or a regular solo game is so drastically, like, the time difference is so insane that those people have already switched off by that point.
yes.
Okay. So I digress. You're correct in that sense. Part B about this, though, is it not fun to just have chaos and be in a
Yes.
smaller circle with so many mans? Is that not something these guys can latch onto?
No,
They 100%
no,
can't win.
no, they can't because they can't control it. They
can't
they
do
literally
anything,
have
yeah.
no say
But they-
over how to be in that chaos. They
I
just
know,
can't.
but now they have a chance to actually experience it for the first time. And
It's
yeah,
only
it's
fun
crazy
for
or
the
whatever, but
people
it's like,
who- you know what it is, I'd say, so sorry for cutting you off, but I think it's only fun for people who are like obviously if you're not pro or grand in the game, people like us who have like leftover mechanics, I'll call it, right? We still can play the game. Like we have leftover mechanics, so like we can actually get in. And it's like, remember the phenomenon of like OG 50 versus 50, where it was like that, where it was like, oh my god, I'm just turn left, guys to fight there, guys to fight there. Like that feeling of like the non-stop action. Yeah, you're right. But those people that we're talking about don't have that because they don't have leftover mechanics. They don't have anything. We're talking about for those people, which is actually probably the majority of people.
Yes.
They don't have like that, right? Like they don't have anything to latch onto. So they get into that situation.
Like those people just don't even like losing in chaos. Why would anyone ever play Battlefield? Like ever?
Nobody plays Battlefield.
Why would any bot ever choose to pick up that franchise? The guys who consistently go 0-56 or like 4 and
because they can fly a
80.
fucking helicopter into
But
a
that's
building,
a
bro.
You can play
game.
a stacked Fortnite endgame with items that you don't have to lose.
You're trolling, bro.
You can
You don't have a storm flip. You don't have a fucking
like you got the fucking
no RPG. There's no explosion. No C4.
I see it, bro.
Bro, you're trolling. You did not just
experience.
compare. You did not just compare a newbie's experience on Battlefield to Fortnite versus experience.
I didn't. I compared a Battlefield to a noob's experience in Bugha's late game. That's two very different things.
No, but that's not the same because in Battlefield, even as like a newer player, it's you can get kills. You can get kills, right? You might not be able to win, but you can get kills, and that's like the satisfaction. Like, oh my god, I just killed a couple people. In Fortnite, in Bugha's late game, you're not even gonna get kills. There's gonna be kids building. You can't
just
touch
jump
them.
down and spray. You can just spray boxes.
Nah,
and pick
man,
up.
it's not happening, bro. It's not happening.
Porto Ravioli 3-2-4.
It's not happening.
Kill my ass when I was just trying to walk in a box.
That says more about you than Alberto, man. That's not the same, man.
56,
and it says a lot more about me than it does about Jimbo, man.
So what I'm saying is Jimbo has a chance. Like Jimbo still has a chance to experience.
Not in solos. That is my fucking point. Not in solos.
No,
he does not have that point. He does not have that chance.
Bro, because you're boxed up beside 8 different people. And there's one dude who just makes the choice to start breaking into shit. And you enter your wall and you start spraying. Jimbo will still get a kill.
Have you ever played those box fight things? Those box fight 8, like free-for-all box fight things where you just queue into it?
Yeah.
So you played those and you've watched the noobs and you tell me that they have a chance.
Well, what? In the box fight things?
Yeah, you tell me that they have a chance to get a kill or something. No, everything. Have fun in that mode.
They have a chance to get a kill.
But even if they have a chance to get a kill, more times than not, they don't have a chance. So most times than not, they die. But they can respawn right into that, right? Even in Bugha's late game mode, even though it's cool how convenient it is, you still die, get sent back to the lobby, have to queue in, wait in the flipping waiting room, then get onto the bus, then dive down again. Like that process will switch people off. Like that.
No, because you're also saying this entire idea of like they love to get from point A to point B. This is like another point A to point B that's harder. You can play passive and just
the point A to point B can lead to because you're shifting it. Point A to point B for them can lead to a win. Even this is we're just talking about them even having a chance to get a kill in solos. Like that's not. Yeah. You know what I mean, like that's not. It's very different.
All right, hold on. Can we agree that is probably why it's trios and not solos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
It's funny how we always argue about the dumbest shit, by the way. We always get the most.
No, but those are the best arguments, though, right? Like, the dumb shit, like, those are always the best arguments.
Now, that is not to say that I don't ever want. I want to see a solo mode of this, 100%, 100% because I would have fun. At least I would have fun. And I also think that down the line, you could get to a place where solos will have fun, like just random people will have fun as well. I think it's also obvious based off of how it wasn't fully a competitive loot pool and there were fun items like rifts and stuff like that. But they also balanced that with trios and instead of making it a complete chaotic, like bullshit, storm flip everywhere type of situation, like it was still relatively competitive, but there was a little bit of fun stuff for the people who want to, just have fun, fly a helicopter into a building. So, yeah.
That variance also gave some bad trios a chance because if you ever spawn with like attack, and they have that purple pump, advantage in the fight. Usually though, they would be farmed for that pump, and then we'd have arguments as to who has it, blah blah blah. People rolling in the box.
Yep.
But
So
yeah,
the variance is there for everybody, and that's literally the reason why it's not fully competitive. Even as hard as Dorf Dad and Bugha argued, like, we need to have only competitive items, no matter how hard they went for it, Well, to be
Yeah.
honest, I think Bugha would have chosen a Flintnox just because it's a fun item for him, and that's literally
Yeah.
one of the reasons why he did well at World Cup, in like 2 games, but yeah. So, anyways, this is cool, and there was a tournament too that was awesome.
Yeah.
What is there to say about the tournament, the LTM tournament?
Well, like leading up to the tournament, at least I can comment on the fact that the game's just degraded in quality, like compared to the start of it.
Oh yeah, we continue talking about that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like at the start, there was a chance to kind of play like a scrim sometimes. We tried to a little bit and it kind of worked. By the end of it, it was like the game mode started with 60 players, 40 seconds, 40 alive, 2 more minutes, 25 alive.
Yeah.
30 more seconds, you now have 3 teams alive. So I don't know what it is, man. The W key will just always be there.
How does that happen, by the way? Because like, I don't want to get into a massive conversation about this, but like I played Warzone for like the first time ever the other day, and like my friends were like, "Oh, there's 150 players," and we were like 5 minutes in, and there was still like 124 players.
Well, you
I
know
was like,
why,
"How is
right?
it that like?"
Like that's
But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, can you explain to me?
It's
I actually don't
gulag.
know.
It's literally gulag.
That keeps all those players like in, like it keeps the player count high because people are just fighting.
Because
everyone.
imagine this in Fortnite, right? Like if you had 100 players dropping the island, and if they died, they got to glide again. How long would there still be players in the game? Like much
sense.
longer.
Makes sense. I'm
Right?
surprised
And
gulag wasn't one of the things that got copied.
Rebooting in Warzone is so much easier than Fortnite. It takes 1 second, not even. The access stop, you press the button, someone comes back in. And Fortnite has 1 reboot, a POI, right? Warzone has like 2 to 3. Barely. Yeah. And it has it like literally, if you would run, and this is actually gonna be sick, from Believer Beach to like Holly Hatchery. Jesus Christ, these names have changed. Like you would have 1 reboot per in very specific spots, right? If it was Warzone, there would be 2 reboots in Night for Split. There would be 2 reboots per POI, right? At a minimum. And that's how things get kept alive there. But my entire idea for this is gonna be a little bit of a tangent, by the way. Those vans should have so much more than reboots. And like maybe for pubs or something, be more abundant. Like I don't know.
What do you want them to be? NPC vans? Like they sell fucking candy out the back? Like what are you trying to?
The fucking they're like llamas now. You sneak up on the van if you make too much noise, it drives away.
No, but like the whole vending machine idea or like gold upgrades and stuff. You can get NPCs out of the way. You can just have them on the vans. The gold bars you have, you can just upgrade and buy stuff via those vans. You get preferred loadouts faster. You get you just get everything streamlined faster, and you have more people alive in arena overall in trios. And rebooted at 5 seconds.
Bank off this idea.
We want our money. Just compensate us in the fine.
That's but that's why Warzone is like it's a lot of fun because you never die. Like you have to die 4 times.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I honestly feel like even if you had like let's say Gulag didn't exist in the main game, you had Gulag in Bugha LTM in the late game mode, you would still have this issue. Why? Because it's just clearly way more for like we all thought end game is the fun part of the game and whatever, and it is in like a competitive setting probably because you want to win the end. However, way more people can get kills, which is also fun, than can win the game. And the mechanics of the game are the best part about the game is playing and editing and building and fucking putting people in the blender. That has become the most fun part of the game is piece controlling somebody.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to do that. So everybody's going to go do that. That's the most rewarding part of the game, right?
I also think that's fine. Like that's also like the way it evolved is kind of fine because yes, one of the pulls was it's a late game simulator, but at the same time, it's a place to have realistic scenarios. Like
way
granted,
more
it's fun.
realistic. Yes.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, but some of the setups they have with the mountains and where people spawn and stuff, you can literally never see in the game. But like you're landing on Zay Hill,
And
you're
there will
landing at the
never be a third
stacks.
party in those realistic things.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, maybe they can simulate a third party somehow eventually. I've been asking for that forever, but yeah, I mean, that is true. The realistic situation is, I think that's fine as well. However, how do they make it so that it's tournament?
So this is simple. Eliminate that third zone closing. You start in 4th and it's closing the 5th. That's all it is. You literally have you land and 15 seconds the zone moves.
Yeah.
So if people want to jump in and key, go ahead, grief. But the zone's about to move into half and half. Half and half can have all the box fights, right? It can be bumping in there, man. Literally, you hear fucking, what's the Industry Babies playing in the background, like fucking Lil Nas X is on height and Jack Harlow somewhere on low, just popping off, right? Kanye's leading the tarp, and like they can all bump in the half and half. Everyone else has to rotate and stuff. W King stop there. If you key, you're falling off the Billboard top 100. Like there's no chance. Like, you're gone, right? Like. I feel like the fact that it starts at third closing is one of the reasons people have freedom to just shoot. Because A, that zone is slower than me running track. All right. And B, like there's just so much space for people to be able to fight. So if it was 4th and closing in the 5th, like that is late game.
That's just perfection. Holy shit. That was 1 minute of Shio fucking, and it wasn't even like weird shit where everybody's like, what the fuck? It's just like, yeah.
It was just straight facts.
That was lit. However, I disagree. I think that yes, that will help, but I still think it would devolve.
How?
I still think it would devolve because 5th zone, everybody will die.
How?
Because they're all bumping to Jack Harlow and Lil Nas X on height. Like,
yeah, no, okay, going for high retakes, whatever, yada yada yada. But the zone is so small.
Yes.
And like, have you seen people try to make decisions in 5th and fuck up? The guys down low who are based up aren't
and
nobodies.
they're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? I think it would be better 100%, but you're not gonna get a stacked end game still. Have you've played zone rules? You've seen how this shit happens.
No, I'm not asking for like, I'm not saying you're gonna have literally 50 people on the mark moving every single game. I'm trying to get that average number to 30 or 40 at least. For
I don't think you'll get 30 to 40. I think you'll get 20, which is better than 7.
We got 20 in this one for moving.
I know. Well, that was very very rare circumstances depending on the zone and whatnot, and which type of teams are in the game. Yes,
I feel like I got 20 consistently.
I think I got 20 consistently even towards the last days in this mode.
Okay.
And the off games were the mega key ones, but I think just putting the zones up would increase it by 10 at the minimum.
Okay, maybe. Yeah. I still think it would devolve because
slightly,
there's not enough incentive for playing like that. Still, they need to
incentive, right?
You need to break the feeling, like I said before, right? The feeling that the most rewarding thing in the game is W King and peace controlling somebody, and you need to shift that to winning the late game scenario. Yeah, if you could do that, then you'll be successful with all the different tweaks as well.
Yeah, but the way you do that is that like you just make W King impossibly difficult, where it still is enticing as a challenge, but trying to W key in that 5th zone with people watching, right?
Yes.
Because you know that a majority of people are still going to be those kind of body, as Levin said, leftover mechanic people. There's going to be peeking through our cones, and if we see a fight happening, you beam out.
Yes.
If you try to fight 4 times and you get sent back to the lobby, maybe you become a leftover man.
You need to incentivize enough people to be leftover mechanics hiding through their cones type of shit. And the only way to do that is ranked.
I think this mode would. Sorry, Levin. Did he lag out?
No, he's just fucking trolling us again. The only way to do it is ranked. The only way to do that is with ranked, because then it actually there's no elo disparity, like massive mechanics disparity between players in the lobby. You literally have a set skill for the lobby, and everybody's even. So for sure going into this game that everybody's even. You're not going to be able to W key. Mitro is going to queue into the game, and he's going to have a 20-minute queue because he's top elo, but he can't. He's going to go against Noah Riley. He's going to go up against people of that caliber. So
Or
they
I don't
can't
think
W
that
key anymore because
I
they will just
don't
not
think
have
that
fun.
stops them. I don't think that stops them. I don't think that stops them from W keying. I think ranked would help because what it would stop is that because people would want a better rank, they would try harder to win to get more points. I think.
Yes.
I don't think that necessarily inherently stops them from actually fighting each other. I think it's hard. Like, I don't know. There's not many things you could do. I think maybe if you like give people incentives for like, getting to the next zone. So then you're like, well, I don't want to fight now because I want to get to the next zone because I get this if I get to the next zone. Like rough idea. I don't think this would work. I just thought
That,
about it for a second. But
no, but
it's
that's
like,
what ranked would
if,
be, right? That's what you'd get.
well,
You get placement points that would adjust your elo
but like,
somehow.
I'm talking about like actually in game, like things that affect you in game. So let's say like everybody started with like gray weapons, but if you get to the next zone, you get green. Then if you get to the zone after that, you get blue. And if you get to
Nah.
the zone after that, you get purple. I'm not saying that like
I
because
understand. I
obviously
understand.
like that would work, but like I'm saying something actually in the game that
Okay.
incentivizes you to get to the next point, like a
So here-
checkpoint kind of
yeah.
thing, right? Like something like that.
Like a game mechanic that would have to be implemented. For me,
Yeah.
it's just speed up the zones. Like you just speed up things to straight moving, and you would remove the chance for people to sit down and box fight. So if it is an immediate fourth movement in the fifth, that fifth zone, fuck the 45 seconds, 10 seconds, we move.
I here's what would happen, Shio, in those situations, right? Without ranked, you do what you want, and I agree that it would help probably the majority of games. However, you instead of having 30 people alive and then it would go down in a normal curve, you would just end up having you'd still end up having only 2 teams left in 7th zone.
How?
Because there's that massive skill disparity between people in the lobbies, and they're still just getting on height and W king and pressuring and whatever.
But is the goal to have, because like this basic MMR will still always be there, right?
Would that be fine? Sure, maybe.
Yeah, because in a perfect world, yes, ranked would solve all the problems, but I think even with ranked, you would still have to speed up the zones. Because I agree with Levin, Micho's not going to stop W king, even no rise in the lobby.
But I wasn't talking about like I just used Micho as an example just for the skill.
Pros,
but below that, but below pro level, 100% it would do what I'm saying.
I think
more so at the pro level.
Bro.
I think at the pro level is where you're more likely to get people not than below. I think below people are just going to key regardless, unless there's more of an incentive like in game stopping them. I think just the speeding up the zone things is good. I think that would be really good because I think the fact that people just have the time to fight at the beginning at all is what is really bad. But at the same time, even with that, I agreed with Shai on the fact that I feel like I get 20s consistently, but even those 20s turn into 4s so fast during moving because
that's where ranked would come in to keep people safe.
Exactly.
So it's a combination of both at the end of the day.
I think
ranked helps. Yeah, from 6th to 9th to get people to actually tarp and not die and not be bots. But no matter who it is, you're pushing bases if you have 40 seconds to chill in that mode. After playing 3 times,
I give you guys the both would help and whatnot, but I do think that ranked is a better solution that would help even if zones were bad. Even if we had no moving zones, ranked would still be better. Ranked would fix shit a lot.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it would devolve hard. Like no matter if it's people invulnerable. Like if it's headshot only and the multiplier is 0.25, people would W key. Like it's just
I'm not saying they wouldn't W key. I just say that it would keep people alive.
Okay. True. Nice. Past that, tournament was cool. Yeah. Congratulations to the winners of that tournament. All the regions.
I like that. I like that a lot.
More interesting than the mode itself are the people in the community that always have things to say. Damn, I'm struggling for a segue, but
that was good. You just need to fucking segue.
Is not struggling at all with bars being dropped on the timeline. Check this one out. A take on third-party tournaments that I feel like has been in the air in different forms, even on the podcast, even in talk since day one. Damn, there's a tournament every day. Blah 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 blue. Another third party that doesn't really change much. But like past all that, the main focus of like Reverse's rant here, or like the thread, is the fact that a lot of third parties are taking advantage of pros in general. and the tournaments don't actually either help the scene or the pros that are involved at all, and everyone's kind of disconnected in that sense.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of a good summary. I wouldn't say necessarily like taking. He's basically lamenting the fact that the these small third party tournaments for $2,000, for $1,000 and whatnot are getting insane amounts of reach with pros that are playing in it. Like Reverse 2K, for example, has like 200K on Twitter and his stream and whatnot and viewership and all, like the reach is insane with the amount of players playing in the tournament that are high tier, that like are Benji Fishy status. Like if you think about it, it's millions and millions and millions of impressions for getting the pros that are playing in these tournaments. You know what I'm saying? So that should be way more worth than the very small prize pools that they're getting. So he's saying that it's the players should not play those tournaments.
Okay. Yeah, the issue is like at the end of the day, no matter what, like what you try to do, certain players will always want to. Because I agree with the take overall, and the solution would be just don't play. But like, there's actually so many different sides to this. It's like
there is a lot of nuance in this conversation that I think most of the community missed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I see it as like I see like this should be on the bingo card. It's like so many other things in life, right? You can apply this to so many different things, you know, whether it be you work a profession like you're a car star, or whatever it is, right? You know, once you reach a certain point, whether you're a brand and you're just promoting and, you know, different brands come to you and ask you to promote their brand, like you don't take certain deals, right? Because it diminishes your worth, like down the line, right? Like you don't, if you're an influencer of 1 million followers, you're not going to do some crappy brand deal for, you know, $100, because I said the bucks because, you know, American audience or whatnot. You know, because, you know, it diminishes your value because, you know, you could be getting brand deals for way more, blah, 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 like all these kind of things, right? I see it similar to the way I see that, like these pros who offer a lot, like you're not helping the scene, whether you're damaging the scene or diminishing your value, you're not helping the scene by doing these smaller events where they are benefiting more from you than you are from them. But like Shayo said, the problem with that, like is the problem with the actual real world, and when you apply it to other things, is some people will just do it, and so it just continues to happen, right? But if everybody takes a stand, then sure, why not?
Yeah, it's almost like he's asking. I don't see. This would be easy in a smaller format game, right, where you didn't have to have 100 players for a tournament.
Yeah,
this would be so easy because you just don't play that. Like the team is the brand itself. However, Reverse 2K is tied to all of these pro players, you know, so he cannot just say stop taking these small tournaments. Let's actually use our brand to get higher value. He can't do that because he's tied to everybody else. If everybody else is also going for these small tournaments, he's never going to be able to get those bigger tournaments in the scene. You know, so it's hinting at a need for a union type of situation for players.
FNPPA?
But we had a players association who would come together and
let's be realistic and say that will never ever happen in Fortnite, just because it's impossible with the maturity of the scene and the level of I don't know. I just think it's such a pipe dream. Even when I saw it at the beginning, it's just like this is. Anyways, however,
are you an advisor to the FNPPA by the TW?
I have that title. I had that title. I don't know. I've never done anything. Anyways, I think there is a onus on everybody within this like all the stakeholders here, where it's these small tournaments are getting this massive reach. However, they're not able to convert into actual sponsorship dollars. You know? How come an Elite Cup can get, what was it, Shai? 200K viewers on the first Elite Cup? 200K combined. However, that's only converted into the max that Prac servers gotten is like a 25K? 20K?
Well, like one thing is that third parties are locked or were locked. I don't know if things have changed to 25K, right?
That's true.
Like Keem wanted to come in and make Friday Fortnite like 50K, 100K and stuff like that and was denied. Like that was way back in the past. And I'm not sure what things are now. The big thing too with this in general is you're right. If one team says that they're playing, every team will just have to play, right? Like it's like suppose there and then there's an extra issue with this as well for the types of orgs that host the tournaments, right? So walk with me here for a second. You have the tournament, everyone's agreed to not play it, right, or whatever. But then you see that like Bucky's trio is playing in it, and like it's gonna be a free 3,000 for them. So some comp players are gonna be like that's like no shot. Like if it's just one pro team, we may as well play in it. And like this ended up happening in the collegiate scene as well, right? Where some people ended up dropping out of playing FNCS to just play VS at a higher skill level and then just steal away prizing week after week after week. Signed to like some university that they don't even have to leave their like seat to go to. They have to show up to like some weird class once every 2 weeks. Like, so this has happened in the past, but like, regardless of that, the other issue with it is that there's always going to be one team because I'm not sure if it is the Zen Cup or like certain cups, they have orgs attached or they have people attached in the background where the pull for the tournament in general is that they have a certain pro player playing. Like behind the scenes, it'll be like a buddy thing. Can you guys play in this tournament for us? And then they use that person's pull to get another team, and they use that pull for another team.
There will never be gentlemen's agreements. You just can't do that because there's too many entities. There are far too many entities. Even when you're playing trios and it's 33 teams, like there's just too many people who are involved. You just can't get to a gentleman's agreement. Like if it was a 12-team tournament, for example, it's easy to be like, okay, let's not use this weapon or something in another game. Yeah. But here it's just like that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen unless there is ways to. I mean, without like a union type structure, which again is also never gonna happen. That is not possible to like punish people for breaking agreements and whatnot. And like, and you're right. There are literally orgs attached where the TNA guys have to be playing in the TNA tournament. Like Endless has run tournaments, which forces them to not forces them, but like heavily incentivizes them to play. Because it's their team and that's useful for them.
My thing is too is that like where's the usefulness if there's no pros playing? Like who's going to watch the 1K tournament that like the pros should not be playing in? Like in terms of two or three players, like what is the point of that org even putting up 1,000 or 2,000? Like should those tournaments just be deleted entirely?
The point of those is to drive player base to a tournament platform.
Okay.
Right. So like Mayhem could have been running those, or East Open should be running like small 1Ks because that drives player base, not necessarily pros. And maybe they drive pros to play in like larger tournaments that have a path through the smaller tournaments type of situation. But basically increasing your player base as a tournament organizer in open tournaments is good if that's your goal. If it's not your goal, if your goal is high dollars because you get the best teams and you're doing invites and stuff and you're making dollars off the sponsorship, then that's different, But the small tournaments is just like small marketing campaigns to get people aware of an org. Those are still worth the $1,000 because it's like a pipeline to join the org or whatever. Like the winner over the best over the 5 times. Like there has to be those ideas. There has to be plans that make sense for the sponsorships, for the people running the tournaments. My biggest issue though is that the big ones, the ones that are like 5,000 and they are getting all these pros. Like if you're getting all these pros somehow because everybody's playing because one team is like, oh, I'm playing. It's going to be a free 5K or whatever because they're incentivized enough by the 5K. If you're getting those people, you should be making more money than you are with 100K viewers on your tournament. There's a big issue with these tournament organizers where they cannot convert that reach, that viewership to like broadcast views, to sponsorship views, clicks on whatever platform or whatever. That is the problem and why you will never see this issue solved until that is solved, until you can find a way to drive people towards those broadcasts and whatnot. Because fucking viewing parties aren't going to be promoting your sponsors. I'm sorry, but they're just not. Aussie Antics is not going to sit here and be like, "Well, Endless is a great team," reading off a script. You know, that's never.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, isn't that something that like, how do you solve that? Because isn't the way you do that usually is like when you have a central, place where people are watching. So like all the numbers are yours. People are like,
Mhm.
looking at your product. Whereas
Even
in
if all the
Fortnite,
numbers are yours, by the way, it still is devalued if it's watch party numbers or player POVs. Even if they had like, think for example, right, VCT watch parties, right? They're all approved. They all have they have to have the logos. They have to watch the ads and whatnot.
yeah,
Even with that, those views are still worth less than the broadcast.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, yeah, so because it's not like a centralized point, like how do you even do that? Because like you said, you can have 100K, but it's not 100K all on one channel. It might be 100K split across a bunch of different channels, and
Yep.
so it's worth a lot less. So what do these people do about that? How do they move around that?
So number one, the number one thing is you actually have to. So right now, watch party views are worth 0 to sponsors. Why? Because watch parties don't have no obligation to keep the product like worth for the sponsor. Like the watch parties can trash the sponsor if they want. They could do all sorts of shit. They can not watch the ads. They can not mention it at all. They can not put it in their title. Like player POVs not necessarily required to put in title, and it's not enforced if they are and whatnot. Like all that stuff means that external views outside of broadcasts is worth $0. So you can't even count everything. You're only counting like 1,000 viewers that are on your broadcast more than anything, and
Yeah.
that is not, that's getting you fucking $500,
Yeah. Mhm.
What
So
if they could make those people obligated? Would it be worth significantly more?
I believe so. Yes. I believe there's two things that they should be doing is making it so watch parties are actually tied and making like actually like so they can monetize Aussie Antics' viewership and Amar's viewership for those third party tournaments. If they could figure like that's a problem that needs to solve. And to do that, they have to get them on board and like, hey, you guys can only watch party this if you want to by, putting this graphic up and reporting your stats to us, right? If you don't agree to that, then you can't watch party. Right? That's how you get that value from there. And then you also have to get those streams and player POVs and everything and the Twitter stuff. You have to get that to cross over onto the broadcast. So that 1,000 viewer stream is 10,000 viewers at least.
Yeah.
And to do that,
Are they allowed
maybe
to do that?
By Epic license, I don't know. It gets really murky. Really murky.
Yeah.
There's no real rules about it. I would suggest that Epic should step in and say, yes, they are allowed to do that. And here's an example license that you can use when you're running your tournaments. But I don't think they ever will. So somebody needs to figure out whether they can or not. I'm assuming you can, probably only for the bigger tournaments though, and for the smaller tournaments, it's probably free for all.
You could incentivize it though. Like you could make it so that, let's say the live spectator was more available to these people who are running these events. You could say, look, we have all the players who are streaming, the rules state that they have to have a 5-minute delay, but we have a clean feed you can use with a
Yes.
2-minute delay if you want.
Yes.
But if you want to use this clean feed, you have to show our sponsors, blah, blah, blah. So you can incentivize it probably.
Yeah,
I mean-
around the rules to make it so that people, 100%. And that's a great idea, by the way, to make player POVs and other watch parties using that like be on a delay in comparison to the broadcast, which is faster. That would be a great way to drive people to watch the official stream over anything else.
I think the easiest way to watch the official stream is just have the official stream have drops, and have everyone else not have drops.
Well, you're talking about like if it's an epic broadcast. That's not what we're talking about, right?
No, like if is a third party tournament that has a broadcast channel, right? And everyone else is viewing partying and watch partying it. Just the broadcast channel. If you just want the viewer numbers up there, or just have people have it open or whatnot, like you just have drops on just that channel.
Yeah, but what is Praxever offering for drops?
It doesn't matter what it is. If drops are just there, even if it's a spray or like
you're talking about
like,
in game, like the third party tournaments are not going to get that. They're just not going to get that.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just saying that if that was ever possible for some of the bigger third party tournaments, not the 1K, 2Ks, but like you know, some of these do have Epic like involved in the system, depending on varying prize pools. If they just had a drop, then that could be the wave.
Yeah.
Like
But
if
I think that's the problem. I think Epic probably, like, the reason why they're so willing to support a lot of these tournaments, the bigger ones at least, are because they're able to run without Epic having to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So then if all of a sudden you're saying, hey Epic, you know, can you like help us and give us drops and everything? Now Epic has to be more involved in it, and that probably isn't something they
that
want
is
to do,
not a
right?
viable
Like,
solution. That's just not.
yeah.
I agree that it would do what it would be good. I don't know if it would do what you actually want though, because here's the thing about drops, right? You get the people who don't give a fuck. They're not clicking the sponsorship deal. They're not so that devalues your CPM or whatever. All the metrics gets fucked because of that. It does increase your viewership, which might be nice. It puts you to the front of Twitch, which gets new interested viewers and whatnot. However, you're inflating it. You're inflating it unrealistically.
Isn't that what, like, I feel like that's literally what like a lot of like the bottom line aims for, is if it's inflation or not, just to have that number there. At
Yes.
least for me being behind the scenes, some like literally most of the time, majority of the time, that's just the bottom line. Like
that is the bottom line. It's more important for like Epic or Riot, for example, for them to have that bottom line. But everybody else agrees, you know, the bottom line is good because the inflation, whatever, is good because of those things that I mentioned, right? You're bringing in new viewers from the front page. You're getting more discoverability, all of that. So that's fine, right? View bot all you want type of situation.
yeah.
But when it comes to third-party tournaments, it's not a viable solution.
So the way to make it viable, and I think the way League has made it viable, even though it's still all LCS and whatnot, is having like a general drop thing. Because one of the things would be to have, like, if you're doing just like a side note for drops that just came to my mind. In Fortnite, like, you have to make some type of new art, like some type of very unique spray, right? Or a very unique type of item. In games like League, or like another one that has something general, it could be an XP boost or like a type of currency or like in-game crafting that is usually given out. That's very easy to just give to accounts. And Fortnite doesn't have that set up yet, right?
But this is what I was trying to get. Like, it needs to be something that doesn't rely on Epic. Like, you shouldn't have to rely on the dev. Like, if you're giving that incentive, you know, you shouldn't have to rely on the dev to be able to do that. All of these things still rely on Fortnite to like do something that they've just never done before, whereas this problem is solvable without Epic having to do things, is what like I think.
Yeah, I mean, all those ideas are great, but it's just not. It's not a thing for third-party tournaments. It's not a thing for people who are running tournaments like this, and the problem that we're talking about. But that idea of delaying the streams is great. The other idea, and here's a hot fucking take: make the fucking broadcasts good. Like, just make the broadcast good so that people watch them. Get the good casters. Fucking do content about the shit, right? Get interviews. Make the broadcast a viable product so that people want to watch it. Instead of trying to fucking, we're just going to gimmick this shit away so that, you know, I want to take all the Mr. Savage viewers, so I'm going to delay the shit. Just make the shit good so that all the Mr. Savage viewers want to watch it. Or, better yet, Mr. Savage doesn't have to stream. And the broadcast will actually show Mr. Savage in the third-party tournament that he's playing.
I believe in one thing, and that is pessimism, and nobody in Fortnite cares. Like the actual people who are watching, like the viewers, they don't care. They don't care about good viewing experience. We may care about good viewing experience, and there are some people. There'll be people who listen to this podcast. Right, if you don't care about viewing experience, you must find it hard to listen to flipping Bala or this podcast, right? So people listening will probably care, but as a general community, the community doesn't give a toss about viewing experience. They don't give a toss about. Well, maybe they do care about the casters to some degree. I think they do probably care about the casters, you know, but that's not driving the viewership significantly higher.
I don't think they don't have to care, do they?
What do you mean
like,
they don't have to care?
If the viewing experience is literally just God tier, as soon as you start watching, why would you click away?
Because for me, or you make a good point. Yeah, that's the case, but I don't think you'll ever reach that point, because even we've had good viewing experience, like even when there is anything that makes the viewing experience better, like Blast and whatnot, like that worked, right? Blast was good. Like Blast had a better viewing experience than most events we've had, and people paid attention to it, right? Like, you know, you had all the pros tweeting, hey, I didn't know this cool fact about me. I'm the carry in my trio, like, huh?
Even though
and you
it's a
still get
fact
people
that's
to
been
come.
like recycled like 6 times in the past, and like
But like for once they're
finally
actually
stuck.
watching, right? But I just don't, especially for these third parties, right? Maybe if that like if it's an epic thing, I get that. But for these third parties, that takes so much investment that I don't think it would ever happen. Like third parties aren't paying
Doesn't
for the
take that much
casters who are
investment.
good.
So then
They're
here's
not
the thing,
paying
right?
to get the
I'm not
content done that needs
asking
to be
to.
done.
I'm not sure what the saying is, but I'm not asking for Rome to be built in a day or whatever, right? Like this would have to be something consistent to the point where I guarantee, you know, I know Levin, majority of the people they don't care. Like it is what it is, but they still end up clicking on the Fortnite broadcast for even 30 seconds when FNTASIA is going on. Like a lot of people do. I see watch parties doing it. I see a lot of pros. If it's randomly, it'll be literally for 5 seconds. They'll see what's up or whatnot. But if they tune in for whatever time it is, right, and it's good, that like over time, if it's getting better and better, and you're saying like blast, people are popping off for it. The next time there is like, you know, a blast, or if there is like a blast event, that's whatever it is, if it's an all-star, or if it's an FNCS, people might be incentivized to tune in because last time was so great. And the more you make it great and the more you stay consistent with it, the more we can change things to be people like that good viewing experience, right? It would just take consistency while aiming to make things better. It's a win-win no matter what, because over time you will get better and immediately people will enjoy it more. And it is the God solution. It's just
I don't disagree with that. It's a good solution because I want that. I want these fucking third party events to be, I want them to be watchable. Like I struggle to watch these events when they happen. And like I want to follow the events because it's important for me to know what players are doing good, but like I just struggle to watch them because I have to watch POVs because the broadcast always crap. I'm just very pessimistic. Like I'll believe it when I see it. If you can show me like a future where like the general community does actually care about the quality of how the broadcast is, then sure. But when I will just have to believe it when I see it. I just don't think that the community will ever get to that point.
Here's how I just convince you to Shiloh's point. Basically, it's not about whether the community cares about the broadcast being good. I don't care about that. All I care about is, can I make the community click the broadcast and stick on it? Doesn't matter what they care or how they care or what they're looking for, just if they end up doing it, you know?
So the reason why I'm latching onto the good thing is because, you know, you'd assume that for them to do that, it'd be good. But sure, I'm sure there are other ways for broadcasts to not necessarily be good, but for people to be incentivized to keep.
By the way, I'm not even saying broadcast. I'm saying the product, right? Which includes the broadcast, but it also includes the tournament, which means good formats and like well-run tournament and yada, 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 like all that stuff.
Sure. I think that with the with the format stuff, I feel like format stuff will help people just watch it in general because it depends on how it's portrayed. I do think broadcast is the most important thing because even if the format's good, like someone might still just want to watch Mr. Savage's POV because they're still gonna
because
get
format gives a big wave.
Understand.
It's the foundation, man. Like I was talking about this with Monster yesterday. It's like all these celebrity tournaments that have like, you know, Chance the Rapper in them and whatnot, charity stuff. Make it like 4 games. Enough with the 6-game nonsense. Like just make it 4 games, make it short, sweet, make it a nice, wholesome event. For these competitive ones that are third party, stop with the 6 and the 8 games. Make it 5. Like 5 will still have that last banger deciding game. Like formats can still shorten up. Like like things can still be edible. You there's still a lot of room to cut grief. There's still a lot of room to gauge interest. And a lot of these formats are still like, you know, so the format today, placement. 1.5 points. Elims 97. Enjoy watching this. We have casters for some reason. Like
well, my point is that specifically doesn't make you watch the broadcast over Mr. Savage if he's playing the tournament. Like it doesn't. The fact that it's 6 games or 4 games doesn't stop you from watching Mr. Savage over the broadcast.
What if the broadcast is watching Savage in his best moments?
That's what I'm saying. So it is more so about what the broadcast is doing.
Yes.
Like format and all that stuff is important, but it is more so about the broad. And that's what I'm saying. So it is more about the broadcast being good.
Yeah, we're talking about everything. We're literally talking about everything.
Levin's kind of right, but also like if you I'm saying like if you introduce a match point format in the third party tournament, people will be like, what the fuck? Like let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like people here's what format does. A good format makes more people watch Mr. Savage too.
Yeah.
So this is the difference, right? I think it's good that you mentioned the match point thing, because things like that make you, format changes like that make you watch the broadcast more, because you can't understand the scope of that just from watching Mr. Savage. Whereas
I'd
the
posit that
broadcast will give you the scope.
You can't understand the scope of a fucking Fortnite tournament at all without watching the broadcast.
And sometimes, even with watching the broadcast, you can't understand the scope.
That's the problem, is that you can't,
Yeah.
like, literally, there is nowhere in these third-party tournaments that you can follow the tournament. The broadcast is not a place to follow the tournament, because the broadcasts in general are ass.
And that's why the broadcast
this is the wave,
good.
right?
But even when the broadcasts get better, like, you know, the community still has to believe in that. And look, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, because
They don't
people
have
do
to.
click on. No, but what I was going to say is that people do click on the broadcast a lot, right? Like, you know, even the viewing party people are clicking on the broadcast, right? Everybody, the pros who are playing this are clicking on the broadcast.
Not third-party
but they're not
tournaments.
staying on it.
Absolutely not. What are you talking about?
Wait, just relax, bro.
Okay.
But they're not staying on them. Even the third party tournaments, right? Like Aussie Antics will click on it because he wants to see the flipping leaderboard or whatever, right? But people aren't staying on the broadcast, right? So you have to make people want to stay on the broadcast. My point is that, you know, you might be able to find ways to do that, but ultimately the best way for the long term is that the broadcast itself is just good, right? And
yes,
and unless we can get to that point, which I just don't believe in it. Like I said, I'm just very pessimistic about this.
The best pessimistic point you can make is that this tweet that we have up right now, that we're talking about, like, oh, the players can't do this because there's just, like, you know how it's like, oh, one team would play and then they're not going to be able to make more money because they can't bargain together and they don't have a union. It's the same exact problem for the broadcast, because there's just not enough money in it right now. You can't get a good broadcast with a prize pool of 2K. You just can't.
Yeah.
And so
that's why I said, but
the egg comes before the chicken or whatever. Like,
yeah, but I can't remember which one of you said it. But one of you mentioned, like, you know, it doesn't take that much investment, but like that shows it does, right? Because if you want to have the good broadcast, you do have to invest. Like these publications, these TOs, sorry, they do have to invest. Like they do. Do you know what I mean? If you want to get the best casters, you're gonna have to pay more for the best casters. If you want to get good content, you're gonna have to pay. You know, there's gonna be more money in that.
They missed the boat on getting Vola TW and Shy Wager for free, boys. They missed that shit a long time ago.
You don't have to know more. You don't have to know more. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it takes that level of investment, and the problem is as well is that the people who are running these tournaments don't see that, and they don't understand that that would be better for them, so they're not willing to invest. You know what I mean? Like they go to Bala and they go, yo, Bala, we'd like you to do this event. You know, we'll give you And Bala's like, what the hell? No. Come on, man. What are you all about? And they're thinking, oh, it's fine, and I'll just go get someone else. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like they don't see that, like, you know, overall having the better talent, having the better broadcast in general makes things better.
It's not even that angled. Like everyone just needs to be on the same signal, right? So if you want to do something completely elite, then yeah, you'd have to have the big stuff. But like these 2K, 1K tournaments are still possible if you actively try to curate the broadcast, the content, the talent, the whatever you have on the side. Like choose the same people, give them feedback, the up and comers, like actually get involved with that entire experience, right? Like that can still be a big way to have a smaller, you know, like fan base is still interested and is super involved that grows.
I would tell you right now that if somebody was able to, if some third party organization was able to convince me that they are in it for the long haul and they are interested in improving things and they will improve broadcast to broadcast, and they want to talk to me and like talk about how, you know, what my ideas are for improving this, how should we adjust this graphic and whatnot, then I would be all on board for fucking cheap.
Ages.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For a long time, because but nobody proves that. None of these third parties have proved that, except for maybe Prax.
This is what a 2K, 1K third party does, right? Let me give you guys the insight real quick. This is what a 2K, 1K third party does. They come to you the night before or 4 hours before, and they say, yo, 12 games, and we're gonna, you know, can you do it, man? Like over the next 2 days? For whatever price point it is, man. It's like
it's facts.
It's like, you know, no. Like,
and back in the day too, it's like, I mean, probably even now, I mean, I get much less of these DMs, but it'd be like, hey, we have a tournament tomorrow at 12 p.m. or 12 a or like 8 a.m. your time, you know? It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then the question I asked, because I was always like, yeah, really interested no matter what, because I want to help small whatever. But then I go, do you have a production?
No.
What's a production? Do you have a dedicated observer? What do you mean by that?
No, aren't you guys watching the games? Like
Yeah.
you watch the games for us, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah. So
Oh, it's heating up and I had to get a cool, refreshing drink because it's heating up. Yeah.
But
insert
it
sponsorship,
definitely-
water sponsorship right here. Thank you.
yeah. Love it. I'm gonna get cut of that, right?
It's on behind the spring. That's what.
Oh.
That's how it is. It's literally like, hey, do you guys have a production? And it's like, nope. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I
miss
cannot
those days,
help
bro.
you. I just cannot help you. I'm not going to do what you think I'm gonna do because that shit is hard as fuck. And it literally is. I like.
I would never forget the days of like just like the smaller orgs, right? It wouldn't even be like tiers, but it'd just be the smaller orgs. Like, yo, we want to like do a broadcast. Can you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So do you guys have like observers? No. But like, you see what you do on stream here when you're doing like the viewing parties, and you like just cast it. Like, what? Like, what are you on about? Do you know what I mean? Like, I miss those days. I don't even get those DMs no more.
I still do.
I remember the old days. It's like, I remember this one time where like I had to do. It was me and Ball, and I had to do like the entire broadcast, but it was on my scuff net, and like I had all the POVs up.
You did
my
it?
internet. Yeah.
I've never done anything where you've done the production.
Was
it the
one where
West tournament?
I did it. It might have been. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a rendition of something EU, but it was the last tournament I ever did when it was me and you, and we had to observe because literally I had all the POVs up. It's going good. Game 2. And my internet just cuts out like 5 minutes.
I don't remember you ever doing the production, but I remember I've done multiple with you where I was running it. And I've had internet issues. Because bro, I'm literally using my entire bandwidth with all the POVs, like trying to get them in high quality too. It's not like I'm fucking doing a watch party where I can suffer and like be like, oh, well, sorry guys, like because people don't understand when I'm actually running a broadcast, I want everything to be full screen. I don't want people to see my fucking clicking on all the different POVs, right? I want everything to be full screen. I want it to transfer evenly. I want to be able to actually observe and I can go watch the fights, you know? So it's like, and then you suffer because everybody's like, well, this is dog shit quality. What's going on? This broadcast sucks. It's like, bro, I'm running it off my PC. Like, so here's another last topic before we move on from basically this third party thing. We can get off this tweet. I don't know why we're still on this tweet, but it is, and here's the saving grace for all these TOs. And sorry, you just had to listen to us fucking shit on you for like 30 minutes or whatever. For like 30 minutes. However, we also understand that it is fucking hard to run a Fortnite broadcast. Like, it is so... Run a Fortnite broadcast, run a Fortnite tournament, run anything regards to Fortnite. Like, anything involved with Epic Games is just hard, man. Like, no matter what.
Let me just do this real quick, right? Step 1, getting into a custom game as a TO that's ever touched Fortnite. Where's your supporter creator code?
Yeah.
Hold up. Where's the supporter creator code? Oh, you can't run a tournament. Sorry.
You can't run a tournament, bro. Sorry. Like, you have to go through one of 3 people who have access to observing teams and whatnot that have that code, and then.
Oh, you're talking about. Hey, that's even further. I thought you were just talking about the custom code access to start a lobby. You know?
Oh yeah, shoot. How do you check who's in the lobby?
Oh, you can't.
Right? Oh, you can.
How do you score the lobby?
Oh, you have to have a
manual counting.
17-year calculus degree, 14 satellites in your room, so it comes the second after the game ends. Like, you know.
Oh, and you got a tool developed to do that? You literally got all the calculus and stuff in there? Oh, the company shut down? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, shucks.
Hey,
and now you get to request your spectator. Hey, Ball2W, do you have spectator access? Could you get me in touch with Epic Games?
Oh my god, that's the worst one, guys.
No, sorry, can't help you. Email competitive tournaments at epicgames.com.
In COD, all you had was challenge.com on your Twitter, and you set up lobbies. That's crazy. You have Discord. Do you know like 4 different pros? Do you have like, do you know how to actually add people on Discord and make calls? Like some of these deals literally don't. Like that's step zero, and a lot of other games literally don't even need that at the base minimum. So you know, how are you going to communicate to the players? How do you get them signed up? How do you get them in the lobby? How do you check who's in the lobby? How do you start a lobby? Like step one is
How do you
so
prevent
difficult.
leaking like that? How do you prevent people from teaming? What do you do after that to stop them from getting in the game after you realize that there's something happening? You can't.
What happens to your next tournament if you can't play the last 3 games of yours because there was such blatant teaming? You know, like it's chaos.
It is absolute chaos. It is the biggest bear. Were you setting me up for a fucking pun or something?
Oh, I thought you'd remember. It was the org was called.
I know,
the
I
Chaos
know.
Cup.
No. Chaos Cup was fine. You're talking about
Chaos
Vanish
Cup
Cup.
was fine.
You
Oh,
have a
Vanish
terrible
Cup, yeah.
memory. Yeah, you have an absolute awful
I need to
memory.
go to the doctors, man. God damn.
Yeah, where Bala
Actually
2W gets to fucking, after game one, gets to go full Taken mode Liam Neeson. I will find you. I have a very specific set of skills.
You know what? We're gonna find you in it. There's gonna be punishments. I'm sitting there like,
Oh god, that is awful, man.
Yeah, dude,
that is
that is the reality for TO. So when I see this tweet, I have to ask, do you understand how difficult it is? And granted, I also just fucking ranted for 30 minutes about running good broadcasts and whatnot. But I do think that we are in a state right now where we have these tools, we have the stuff, we have the knowledge. People just need to find out. Like there needs to be. I try to be the person who's like helping everybody and try to like, but it just takes too much. For me, who's a caster, who's also content creator, who's like, there's nobody in the scene that is just an expert at it outside of like Connor, who is literally just an expert in helping that. And it's not even sustainable for somebody to do that because there's just not enough. There's not enough interest. So again, it is the chicken and the egg problem. Like what the fuck is going to come first? And to me, it all comes down to the game needs to be fixed first. So that's probably easier to run these tournaments. Stuff will come from there. But even further, it's so hard to solve without Epic. And like serious money invested into the backbone stuff, not into the prize pools, into the backbone. And until there's a tournament, like actually spending way more money in the back end than on the prize pool, you're not going to start to see that shift, right? You won't start to see that. And I don't think that will come unless there's investment from somewhere, whether it's Epic or whatever.
If it's not Epic, you're asking for investment into stuff that like into a place that has like no pull whatsoever, like that needs all this stuff, and the money has to come first, and that money is coming to a place that is not pulling that money at all. So yeah, unless one of us just becomes like trillionaires, like
no, for real. No, you're right.
Yeah.
Because it's a money sink right now. It is a money pit right now. So even to rationalize investing into that backbone is so stupid because the stats right now just tell you it's a loss.
Yeah.
Just look at DreamHack's numbers. Like that can't be good.
But then it's funny because, you know, usually we look at these, we have these kind of conversations and we go to ourselves, bloody hell, like, you know, Fortnite, blah, 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 but look at how they're doing it in blah, blah, blah game. This is a problem in most esports.
Yes.
That TOs are operating at a loss and TOs are not looking good. Like, the ecosystem for how it's being done in all of esports is not great at all. So.
Yes. Facts. Very true.
Yeah.
I think the biggest issue though is that it's such a, and the reason why I'm more fed up about it than I am in like CS, for example, is because of the original tweet, which is these guys are getting screwed. We have think about it this way, right? DreamHack CSGO gets 50K viewers. Prize pool, what is it? 100K or something like that. Because it's appropriate to the scale of the 50K viewers.
Yep.
Fortnite tournament? 250K viewers.
200K, 300K. Yeah.
How much is the prize pool? 5K? Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the scale is just so disparate. It's so far that I get more, and obviously I'm from the community, so like makes sense why I'm more fed up. But it just seems like a deeper problem here than anywhere else. Because we can't even get off the ground. You know what I'm saying? We can't.
Yeah, because as much as as much as it's like a problem in sort of all of esports, there are very Fortnite specific problems that make it, you know, a big issue, which are the things we've highlighted for the past half an hour or so. So
Yeah. Well, we're not
Tio,
done with reverse.
stop asking casters to run your production.
That is definitely a big fact that should be taken away from this conversation.
We're not done with reverse 2K yet, though, because as factual of a diplomatic conversation we can have about the state of games, broadcast, etc., with cool anecdotal memories, there's also some drama, a little bit of drama in the mix between reverse 2K and Scented that we can flip to. This was a little bit of a. It always happens on CS:GO or like some other game, by the way. Reverse like going on a rant about basically how Scented at one point towards the end of this, he was talking all about like, you know, passive and CSs and like the TLDR, played in a little bit of a friend chord, and was playing some Among Us or something, and via playing in there and playing with a few peeps, he got a DM from someone of a screenshot that sent a DM to Clix to land on reverse, which Clix did in season 4 of the FNTASIA, the first one, but they won anyways. But then afterwards, they got kicked from the friend chord, so like the DM was real, the drama is real, whatever from reverse's side, but this happened.
So
and
yeah, to take it with a grain of salt for sure. It is a well-known pro saying these allegations, right? So I trust it a little, like a lot more than I would if it was just like fucking Reddit comments. But this is reverse claiming that Scented wanted to. I need to re-listen to it, but basically, Scented asked Clix to grief reverse when Scented had a chance to win.
Scented was in second place, and I think it was
season 4.
Nominal difference in points.
It was close
at the moment. Yeah,
everybody remembers that. Everybody remembers Clix landing on reverse 2K. Everybody remembers that. But now in the context that Scented asked them to do it, that's fucked. That destroys my comp. I already knew this stuff was going on, but on such a large scale and from such a person as Scented who I had good impressions of, to be honest, speaking to him and watching him and everything, I had good impressions about him. Something like this has the potential to kill my interest in Fortnite competitive. This is literally collusion on that scale that I was talking about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, and I remember exactly what this was going to. It's very bad. The fact that this could be happening at such a massive and large scale, and you know, like you said, because everybody does remember that moment. Everyone remembers it, but you never think of the possibility of, you know, this was what was really happening behind the scenes. And look, what other DMs do we just not know about, right? What other instances of this happening do we just not know about? At a certain point, this has to stop being a meme, and we have to, you know, really look at ways of dealing with this, because it, you know, like you said, it's incredibly damaging to the game, and it sort of delegitimizes it when other people are looking at Fortnite as a competitive game. They think, well, that's bogus. How could this possibly even happen in a game so big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be stopped.
I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, this could be happening everywhere and whatever. That's a reality. However, this is what's in front of us. And whenever situations like this actually do happen, I think it is reasonable to focus on this and not think like, oh, the world's crumbling, like, oh, this happens everywhere, and just focus on this and try to like react appropriately as a community, as push the devs, the publishers, the TOs to do the right thing in instances like this. So I don't honestly know what the right thing is. I think if this could be proved to be true, which who knows if that is the case, if it could be proved to be true, Scented should be retroactively punished. Actually, the entire team should. And yeah, I don't know what that retroactive punishment looks like, but people need to be. You just need to try to stop this from happening in the future, and that is by punishing in a severe way. Honestly, like this, bro, the level of punishment that this should bring is so big in my mind. Like,
Yeah, I'm thinking like I by power levels of
well, never that far, because that's just bullshit. But
not like
it is that scale of severity in my mind.
yeah, like but like indefinite to a fair point. Like not, I'm not saying permanent.
Yeah, because
but
I know what you mean when you say the I by power levels. Like that's how big. Like let's say this is a scandal. Like that's how big of a scandal it should be. Where like we should be looking at this as like a massive thing. Obviously, the fact that the I by power guys never got unbanned, whatever, is the bullshit part. But like these, like if this is true, right? Let's say because you know everything is alleged. If this is true, then like the scale of the punishment should be massive. Like it should be.
Mhm.
But it takes, you know, a group of people, an entity, whoever, it takes somebody to really thoroughly investigate into this type of shit. Like we don't have a Richard Lewis in fucking Fortnite, right? Like it takes somebody like that, or what's the name of the people who regulate
ESIC.
in ESIC, right? It takes a group of people like that to really. You don't have that in Fortnite, and
I think
clearly we do.
this is like one of the disadvantages of having like, you know, young players or whatnot, or like this much accessibility in Fortnite, is that there's a lot of, but what's the official long word of lax? It's not laxative, right?
Lackadaisical.
Is it lackadaisical?
What are you trying to say? I don't
Yeah,
get.
But like,
mm.
so what I'm trying to say is that like, you know, you can have a lax type system that's
Relaxed.
I guess it is relaxed. Yeah, a relaxed system that's gonna hands off from Epic side at the cost of having this stuff happen. Like, there's a reason that yeah, okay, now Twitter stuff whenever it does come out, it gets punished. Like they're obviously trying to crack down on that, but like they're still not looking at what's said in Prax specifically, what's said in pro discords, unless it's like literally public. Like the reason this private shit, even this matter, I honestly think it's just not public enough, and it won't catch on enough, so it's
Mhm.
not gonna get punished.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the costs we have of living in an ecosystem like this,
Mhm.
where it's open-based tournaments. There's lots of them, high prize pools. They're concurrent. You know, there's not superstars, but there's still a lot of opportunity for money to be won. And there's also shitty things that happen all the time, that just won't ever get fixed. Because
We
the next
literally have
tournament has
seen
to happen too.
screenshots of people doing stuff like this, by the way. So it's not like
Yeah,
so again, it's hard to speak
Like,
about it because
once again,
we're
like-
talking about Reverse 2K seeing a screenshot that he doesn't know if it's real, but he's claiming is real because of circumstances.
Yeah.
So like you're believing Reverse 2K saw the screenshot. Are you believing it's a true? I don't know, but all I know is that stuff needs to be punishable when there is proof that somebody said stuff or is communicating or whatever.
I've lost hope a long time ago at one incident where there should have been punishment, but there wasn't when big players are involved. And that was the entire thing with DJ on the episode, and Benji Mung with the whole screen tapping thing, right? When nothing came out of that situation, every time I see this, just know that nothing will happen. It's like I didn't watch this video at all. Like that's basically how I just have to treat it in my mind to be able to just live on the next day and be able to analyze these players and talk about them later on.
Yeah, there was another situation too, and that was, what was it? The squad FNCS. The kids who griefed Team Liquid Luck, in their heat. You remember? They were trying to grief them. They still made finals, but
Yeah.
there's been situations where like, oh, my teammate asked me to land on them or whatever and grief them, and stuff like that is consistently the guy in FNCS Solo Invitation who's in a Discord with 15 people and they're all asking him to grief Bugha on stream. You remember?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. That has been what has lost me faith. In that will happen.
That's all like that's all valid in terms of just like in general on the topic. But for me, when it's just top players having issues with other top players, when it's just top player people on the line on both sides, like for me, it was just that stream sniping incident because that was all just top players involved. Like that was a high level tournament, and no one could get touched after a certain follower count. is where my mind is in
But
some
it's
private
not
matters.
true because of how Aqua and whatever. I mean, we've
No, I
seen it.
understand, but that stuff is like, in game it's happening, but when it's a side type of thing like this, where it's
Mhm.
a if and it never gets investigated more from what I see personally. Like like maybe it does, and I'm misspeaking, but for me, like there's a personal take for me. I honestly don't think it's investigated further or fully at all, and then
Well, you have to
nothing happens
believe that it
from it.
has been because of the Keys Slacks Bucky situation, right?
That was like, but like you see, that's happening in game and it's slightly more
Yeah, but
obvious. Like I don't see it as private of like
yeah.
it's a clip or a DM. Like it's tangible, right? A bunch of this more intangible stuff that's kind of outside is something being said on stream, and yeah, things that have been said on stream have been punished, like now and whatnot. But like once again, when it's big pros who have the brands, like if it's Scented, it's Benji, like for some reason, like nothing happens.
I think
Like in the private matters.
the reason why I'm not as I feel like I should be looking at this situation and situations like this and just giving up and leaving the scene, to be honest. Because what the fuck is the point if it's not real? However, I think I do have a little bit of faith given how Epic has been changing their tune on punishment, how Epic has been warning people for toxicity and yada yada yada, and more it does seem like they are stepping up their punishment and ban game. Is it to the point where I want it? No, for sure. But it does feel increased.
The problem I have is that, Epic don't have the facilities for this. They don't have the facilities to be able to, when there's a problem like this one, where like they're going to be able to do a thorough investigation that results in it actually be useful. Like I always hate when I hear like, certain, whatever it is, whether it be in game, outside the game, where I'm like, oh, we'll investigate into this, and like, there's nothing you. What are you going to investigate into? What are you going to do? Like, you're not going to do nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, what that's why, like, I mentioned those people earlier, like Richards and that. Like, what can Epic do in this situation now? If they're given this information, from what we've seen of them at least, and not what can they do, because we know what they can do, but from what we've seen them do in the past, what would happen?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And something should happen. There should be an investigation into this, right? And so,
well, at the very least, they can interview all the associate parties, right?
They just won't. Like that's the thing. I agree with you, Bala, in the fact that 100% they've upped their game in the general, punishments here and there. But when it's like a high-profile case between two big parties, just feel like they're hands off, especially if it's slightly private and it's not an in-game occurrence.
Yep.
In-game occurrences, bro, they're so much better now than in the past. They're like, it seems like they're on lock with a lot of shit.
but that's the thing, right? Because it's like it's all a process where you have like, there's different stages to it, and the final stage is the punishment, right? That is the final stage, and because it's the final stage and it's the stage that people see the most of, that's why it's perceived as the most important one. And in that stage, the punishment stage, they used to be off, and they've improved massively in the punishment stage, right? Which is what you're talking about, Bala.
Yeah.
But that improvement also needs to happen in the previous stages where like there's the investigation. With the in-game stuff, they have improved, right? Like that's another stage where like when it comes to in-game stuff and how they deal with that stuff, they have improved with that stuff, but there's still more that needs to be improved on than just what they do at the end. It's very easy to be able to get punishments right, to be able to say, okay, you know what, you did this, that's where you did that, you did this, that's where you did that. It's very easy to improve in that stage. In my eyes, maybe it's not. Maybe someone can correct me on that, but it's the stuff you do before that needs to be improved. That's really important to me.
The other thing too is that as valid as that is, this is also an instance of like something happening in the past. And from like the record books in terms of me in things that like happened a long time ago, or things that affect something that happened a long time ago, that's also like a very easy thing to just go hands off with, right? This is something that should be investigated. Another instance was like when Kez came out as basically absolute cheater, right? Like
got banned live,
and got banned live. Like, was anything investigated into what happened during squads, or like, just in general how things were? I'm not saying that anything would have happened at all, but like, like two things on this. I just don't think there was. And the other thing was, even if there is, that there's, or if there's not, one big issue I have with just on the topic of cheating and like, punishments being handed out and stuff like that, there are just never details like on what happened. and I feel like that's really detrimental. I personally, maybe I'm just clouded in my judgment right now. I don't know what the benefit is of not releasing the details. Like, what is the benefit? Like, if you guys like have some pros as to not really, what is the deal with not releasing details? Is it about glamorizing it or something? Like, because we should know like what the issue was.
I think it's the fact that some of these people are 14 years old, and publicizing any details about wrongdoing from a 14-year-old could really cause problems for them down the line.
But
Yeah, I
like
can see
they're
that.
doing shit that's not like not legal, but like it's wrong. Like 14 or not, like, you know, there's nowhere to see.
Yeah, but I
someone
mean,
still has
look,
a
look,
ban. Like
look
a
at
13-year-old
situations where. Look at situations in Valorant, for example, where some kid cheated. So some of these pros cheated when they were 14 or whatever. They got VAC bans on their account. They're literally followed forever with accusations. Forever.
Well, like they should be, no?
Yeah.
And if you're saying, well, you know, like the sensible people will understand what's going on, but like the decisions you make, like, yeah, you change over time, like they're gonna have ramifications, especially it's not like literally.
I think it depends on the context. I think I want to say yes, it should be, but I also like I don't think that somebody should be followed by like a VAC ban when they were 12 playing in a casual pub server, or 14 when they were playing in a casual pub server, you know?
Okay, but
However,
this isn't,
when
like,
they're cheating
this
in
is
a
huge
comp
FNTS
system,
tournament,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I don't
Like-
think that matters at all, and I think for the integrity of the system in general, you do need the details. I agree with you.
I still don't know, and I'll say this: if Ziff and Ronaldo cheated,
I agree. I still don't know. Yeah, fuck yeah. I agree with that too.
I honestly like,
Because
to me, I've
the
always
thing is,
been on the-
nobody told me is whether or not they asked this guy to do it. If he
Yeah.
just did it, then
they're fucked, and they get like. Anyway, that's a whole other can of worms. But like, this is the only place that like I've been sitting on this take so much, and I usually never say it at all. Because like every time I've wanted to, there'd just be.
I've said it on
backlash, but,
Hotline
like,
FN, but that
Yeah,
nobody
I
listens to
still
that.
don't
Just like
know.
nobody listens to that, and there's gonna be people in the comments who like we're gonna have 12 comments completely or unrelated about like some marshmallows or something, you know.
Follow
Fucking-
my SoundCloud link. Like, yeah, I still don't know if these guys cheated in one of the biggest tournaments of all time.
There's the Waffles incident too, which I strongly believe that Waffles and Dubs were not colluding.
Yeah. But we won't, like, we could do whatever and make content and have a podcast. The end of the day is there's got to be, like, you know, an official to come in and just drop the facts after all the drama.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't have that, the drama will be there forever. And it'll cloud the next drama that comes around and the next drama that comes around.
I am very, dude, I'm serious. I saw this morning. I'm like, what the? I am very close. It'll take, if there's 2 or 3 more of these instances, I will be done. I will be done,
I
and so
agree.
will a lot of different viewers. I'll just be out and stop. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because what is the point? At the end of the day, improving the third party tournament broadcasts, all this shit that we're talking about, improving the formats. If this stuff is going on and it's going unpunished and there's no reasoning ever, blah 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 blah, and it's happening, it's getting publicized, there will be no point to any of those improvements. So what? There'll be no point in improving content, no point in incentivizing a journalist to come in, because it just won't be fixed. It won't be able to be fixed down the line. This will have impacts in the future too. It's like the more this happens, the more it's going to happen. Just like all the cheating accusations that happened in season 2 with when the drum gun was a thing and everybody was like, oh, soft aim all over the place. Sorry, season 3 when solo FNTASIA started, everybody was accusing everybody of cheating. Fucking poor Oliver OG, you know, like, and genuinely, I still have my doubts on some of those people, but like even all that stuff, like that stuff, because nothing happened and nobody said anything and nothing happened at all. The next season we have way more soft, and then now we have a cheater in every cash cup, and that doesn't happen just because the game has
bad and
it happens because we fucking talk about it and it hasn't, and because nothing else happens, you know.
Yeah.
And eventually, and you know what will happen. I can't remember what instance made me realize this, but the people who do deal with the stuff will take note of it. We might not be aware, but like, you know, like you'll get like Richard Lewis who will like do a segment or a bit about how like Fortnite's a joke, this and happening.
I don't know how many
You know what I mean?
videos I've seen Jake Lucky fucking.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like and that was actually how I was introduced to Jake Lucky.
Same.
Because I went on a rant on the War Legend broadcast because there was like remember when there was like a bunch of players landing on Mr. Savage? And like
Yeah,
it was just some random EU tournament, yeah, and Jake Lucky covered it. And that was how I was introduced to him. It's like you will get the people who are from the industry who will take note of these things and cover it. And that's like just their only interaction with Fortnite ever. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think he covered some cheating story, not cheating, but like collusion or something like that back in the day, and it was like really well covered. And he like didn't like. I think it might have been Ronaldo and Ziff, honestly, and like
I think so.
He didn't like go into the normal thing, the normal take of like all Fortnites are cheaters, and he was like very, very like Epic hasn't said anything, and he was stating all the facts and not really going into. But then like down the line, now it's just like full send, and now I don't like when Jake like when he covered the Dubs and Waffle situation, he like I was like, bro, this is not like representative of what's happening at all.
Yeah.
But he tries. He really tries. So yeah, but you're right, Shao. People are gonna take note, and eventually, it's over.
Rough skis. Still, the games continue, and they start this weekend. FNCS is back, baby, on the 30th. That's literally in like 12, 14 hours, actually. Middle East, I think, has already started 15 minutes ago. I also got a dude coming to like fix my couch within like the hour. So let's just see what's up here with FNCS. It is the same as before. nothing really has changed in terms of format and whatnot. What are we excited about looking at though? On what is this now? The third season rolling in of the year.
Third season of the year, fourth trio season of the year, or in a row, fourth trio season in a row. It's fucking lit.
Third of the circuit, right? Yeah.
I'm very excited here. I'm just gonna start listing teams, like teams that I'm excited about, storylines that I'm excited about. The first one being, I'm following closely the Tayson. Tayson obviously just coming back off of All-Star Showdown win. He's paired up with Vino, who's second place in that, and Reason. That looks like a lot of fun to cover, and they gave up a spot, right? Because FNTASIA, Tayson, and Nate got third. So we're gonna have 4 reboot rounds for EU. And we're going to have this new team going through it. I'm very excited to see if this was a mistake for Tayson. I'm hard pressed to believe that it is, just based off of the fact that he's done it in the past. But this has basically happened after a DreamHack Cash Cup Extra where they didn't do terribly, but they didn't do great either. And he was like, it's time to move on. Did the same thing with Mongrel and Mitro. And the result was an 8th place with iDrop and Mr. Savage, and then finally a 3rd place with 4ZR and Nate. I honestly think that team was, the stonks were going up since the beginning. I thought that if they were going to disband, it was going to be around that time in like qualifier 1, qualifier 2 type situation. And this is now a pattern for Tayson where he gives up on teams, maybe prematurely. But he is on a new trio every single one of these 4 seasons, which is also crazy.
Yeah. And it's weird because for me, the stuff that I'm also looking at is I'm looking at some of the things I was saying at the start of the year and seeing if they are starting to pay off. Because that was like always a thing where people were like, you know, seeing the progression of these people as the year goes on, right? Like, you know, what this trio looks like at the start of the year versus what they look like at the end. What does, you know, what's the difference then? Of course, you know, you there's plenty to account for in terms of, you know, switcheroos and whatnot. But you can look at some of these players and look at how they've evolved and where their sort of general standing in the general competitive hierarchy and how these things have changed. And what I kind of like is that obviously you have the people who've come in, people like Vino who are newer, which you always get. But I think the fact that things haven't changed that much in terms of that hierarchy is a good thing, because there's like an element of consistency to competitive. There is something to track. There are, you know, you don't go into a season thinking, bloody hell, there's so much, what do I even follow? Maybe in other regions, like I know NA last season felt like that for a lot of people, but like, you know, generally in the EU at least, you come into season, you know who the top dogs are, you know who the up and comers are, and these things are still sort of there. There's that structure that's still there from the start of the year till now. And there's people who break in, there's people who drop off, but like it's good. I like it, and that's what you
Okay.
get when you have trios consistently over the
Yes.
course of the year that we
Okay.
haven't
Now that
had
now that we're
before.
done,
So,
you know, jerking off Ball of TW blog post real quick. Now that we're done with that, what
okay, okay, buddy.
what are you
Okay.
like actually looking at in the terms of like, you know, who's at the top, who's at the bottom, who's up and coming, like all that stuff?
The most genuinely the most important thing for me that I'm looking at team wise is Thomas and Nassim Flick, because they are obviously a team where it's gonna sound weird when I say this. I feel like I've not seen them all year, but
Yeah.
they've been there.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been absent all year, and not because they've not performed or they've had a good performance, which is why they were absent a lot of the time. But they are often a team that peaks near the end of the season, right? They're a team that takes them a while to get into their stride. Now, obviously, they had a good result, you know, relatively recently. I forgot what tournament it was, but they had a
Cash
really
Cup
good
Extra.
result
They just
recently.
won.
Yeah, exactly. So they won the Cash Cup Extra. And that's not something that they do a lot of the time this year, where they will win an event early on in the season. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing if they've actually hit their stride earlier, because that would be good. If Thomas and Flick, because Thomas and Flick are a team that you'd predict to qual first week, right? Or to get that spot in the finals first week. So I just want to see if they can do that, or if it was just one off Cash Cup Extra
Can we?
result or whatever.
So it's obviously Queasy Jerky, Trulex,
Revsguard, Savage, and Dredda.
Revsguard, Savage, and Dredda. So those are the two auto qualled.
And I wanted to personally I want to skip the finals, man. Because those are the two teams that I'm just hella interested in seeing how they move forward. Like Savage obviously going for the win, and then this talk about like, you know, was it like a complete fluke season for the trio that won? And can they replicate it? But then looking at quals and stuff, the teams that I'm kind of most excited for, there's this whole I saw we talking about it earlier, like off stream earlier in the week. Lanuf and Mongrel on the same stream, or is it Lanuf and who?
I think they broke up. It was Lanuf, Mongrel, and Bad Sniper. I'm pretty sure they're breaking up, but it could just be.
Would have been.
They were looking good. They were looking good. I don't know why they would break up either, because they played well in Cash Cup Extra. They've been playing well in trio or in Cash Cups. I have to check who they played with yesterday. Was it yesterday? Monday. But as far as I know, they broke up.
The teams that I'm hyped for, they're kind of smaller in general, but like the Jules and whoever the hell is on their side.
The Genius.
Yeah. How they kind of just like improve and get personality in their play, because like just cerebrally they're kind of in the right spots everywhere, but just seem to get run over all the time. But like actually have them have a flavor or get a brand would be cool. And then the one show I just love watching all the time is Pizza Arden and Fast Roki. Just to see them go a game. So they're just so much fun to watch.
Are they going again, Levin? Do you know who they're playing with? Because that one's fucked as well. I know Fast
It's
Roki was playing with a bunch of people.
Man.
But that doesn't mean you can't still be excited for them, right? Because Fast Roki is.
I'm so excited, but like,
Like, and going back to Mongrel for a second too, like I'm really excited to see, because Mongrel's done with Mitra. Like that is a realistic thing that all of a sudden I honestly think that Mongrel will have a season where he'll make at least, you know, it's finally pushing up. I think he'll make grands. I don't think he'll do well there, but I think he can push into heats and push into grands, you know? Because it feels like he's rejuvenated. It feels like he's actually trying to find a trio who can do that rather than full Mitro brain. So
a team I'm really looking at is Kiriashi, Stormy Rat, and Toos. And for me, I really want to see what these guys do, because this year there's been like the boss trios, right? Hen, Janice, Chapix, Thomas and Nesson Flick. You know, obviously no rally reason for deal split up, but they were that, right? Like you have these trios who are the boss trios, and I feel like Kiriachi's trio have like been knocking on the door of that all year long. And I feel like this is their chance to actually show that they are that, because you look at a lot of the results and you can make the case that they are that. When you watch them play, you can make the case that they are that. Like they are a phenomenal trio, but they don't get the respect of being one of those top dogs. Like even you look at all regions, every region has it, right? Like look at NA East, you know, Scented, they're the top dogs, you know, blah, blah, blah. You had, you know, Stats Acorn Jack, they were that, right? Like, and Kiriachi in that, they don't get the respect of that, but I think they're good enough to be that. And I think
they have the name brand to be like the place where people should really be following, but they've always disappointed. So yeah, if this is the season for them, that'll be interesting to follow down the line. Do I think it is? No, I don't. I just genuinely,
I think it could be.
I have no faith in
honestly think it
Kiriachi.
could be.
And then
No
for
faith, no faith in Kiriachi. We'll
Mhm.
see how that one comes
Yeah.
back to bite
I-
potentially. Who
you
knows?
you mentioned Henjanis and Chapix, by the way, and they still look like the fucking best team in the world. Like this season, they still look like the best team in the world. And honestly, I think the toxicity type of situation that was happening within the team, they've kind of accepted and embraced it into something that is actually like, I look at it and I'm like, this works. Like this really works. It's not something I'm concerned about anymore. You know?
yeah.
So that's some nice stuff. And they have the opportunity to be fighting for their spot and proving the fact that you should not land on us in finals.
Yeah.
So this is a big opportunity for them to get a second win. And that's honestly what's expected of them too. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then the back-to-back clap with then like I feel like also for Jerky and whatnot, right? Because of the half the games they were contested, like not that it was a fluke, but like they didn't have the ultimate team to actually dethrone and beat, right? They'll actually have like that gauntlet run this time they didn't have before. In terms of the 2 redemption arcs, it was Airwalks who retired, right? Or who was
I don't know. I don't know if it was
Out of
Airwalks
those
or
3.
Nikov. Oh,
It was
Blaster.
It was a Blaster, yeah.
It was Blaster. Okay, never mind. So then Airwalks, Sky Vato, a chance maybe again to reach grands, and the biggest one that I feel like just got cheated entirely, Seti Kamitik. Like man, should have been in grand finals. Unfortunately, just weren't. Reboot rounds shouldn't change at all, anyways. But like if it was a tournament, they would have like won that day.
Yeah.
Like it'll be fun.
Hey man,
to see.
they have 4 chances this time. They can't come second place 4 times in a row, can they?
Yeah, surely not.
Setting all the wrong records, eh? But yeah.
Will anybody be
that
able to
should be fun
top
to see.
Tahi's clutch, by the way? We'll move on to NAEs because I think we're kind of running out of the EU storylines, but that shit was just so, or sorry, Sprite's clutch. I don't want to say the wrong person. Sprite's fucking phenomenal clutch. Calc's throw. Yeah, Calc's retirement.
Is Calc playing this season?
Unlucky. I don't know.
Calc's in the season, yeah. Like
because like Fortnite players don't retire. They just say they retire and then they just like play on like a low key team.
Oh, they do retire for the one day, bro. That's what you're explaining. You're explaining it correctly. They retire for one day. They're hard workers, bro. Live multiple lifetimes.
Well, no, but I would never like not be amazed. Like if you think players are retired, like just go on like a random Cash Cup leaderboard, just scroll down. Like, you'll just see mad names. Like, you'll see names from World Cup, right? Like, and you're thinking.
You'll see Cowboy FN, like he's just there with Demo.
Bro, like you will see a mad I'm telling you, like you will see mad names and they just get away with it because it's so far down the Cash Cup leaderboards.
How are you guys feeling second season? No Zayt.
Sad.
Yeah, we're better with him than without him, you know? We're better with him than without him.
He was keeping Stretch in line, bro. This man is going on. He's fucking going crazy. Stretch is going insane.
It's a mad scientist.
Yeah, like straight up, don't know what's happening. However, I feel like Saf has broken into more of a star player than he has without Zayt, living in Zayt's shadow. I feel like Saf is himself, and now he's playing with Kanata and Stretch, which kind of flips that a little bit, but I still think that this is time where people are going to start putting respect on Saf's name, and I do. The fuck
what
out
is
of
that? Like, what? He is obsessed with you, buddy.
It's a little fly, bro. It's just the one fly that's alive in my room.
For now,
that team looks good. They look really, really good. They yeah, dude. I went to fucking 3 stores to find fly swatters the other day because I'm just like, they're everywhere right now because it's so damn hot. And Walmart didn't have it, Target didn't have it, Lowe's didn't have it. I went to so many different places, bro. They just didn't have fly swatters. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I had to get off Amazon. I had to order, man.
The flies have had a conspiracy, but they have an inside man just taking the fly swatters off the shelves. Still, is that an FNCS logo on your fly swatter, by the way?
It actually looks like FNCS like branding or something. But no, it's not. Like, it actually does look like FNCS branding, but no.
That's actually hilarious.
Next season revealed, the flies take over. Lord of the Flies season.
You can like ride flies as movement, like bloody hell. what I wanted to say, when did Zayt eclipse Saf? Because you guys are OGs, so I'm sure you remember this. It wasn't always like that. Saf used to be the one that was considered the best. Remember when like Saf had won like the solo land, and like Saf was, because like they were both winning stuff as a duo, and like they were the best team in the world.
When Zayt qualified for Solo World Cup.
That's when it was, right? Because it was before that, it was like nobody would say like, oh yeah, Zayt is better than Saf. Like it was always like Saf's the best in the world, because he was winning solo events on top of what he was winning with Zayt and Saf. But like everybody, like
Saf stopped
it feels
winning
like
solo
everybody
events.
forgets that.
He stopped being very good in those things. I think he got first in the
Even in
semi
those
World
days?
Cup day, and then never made it to deep in the finals. And then also just like solo FNTASIA didn't do well. Solo Invitational. Zayt was the guy fucking with e-girls in his call, like so. Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
even since the start, even though like even if Saf is and was better, like I just feel like it was more soft spoken than Zayt. Like
do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Another bingo card thing. My basketball reference for the day. It's like with OKC when people said like KD's better than Westbrook, but Westbrook is like the alpha personality. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, people look at Westbrook as the guy, even though KD might be better, because like Zayt Saf could have been better, but Zayt was just the guy. So
Zayt was the guy since day one, bro. Like he had like the exotic accent. The dude was just like he said funny things and like
so handsome.
Had the personality, bro. Like that's not saying Saf doesn't have any of that. It's just the man put it out there more. So I feel like as a viewer, I was always drawn more to what the hell Zayt's saying, and Saf is just like a in-game god. I know nothing about him.
I always went to Saf streams during skirmish and stuff, and the early times I was always going to Saf streams, and I never went to Zayt streams. Although Zayt was a little bit.
Zayt was the dictator. Like he ran Prac too, which is one of the reasons a lot of people.
I think Zayt was definitely a little bit more. You're right. He was outspoken and was like more like I don't know. More like personality. I guess.
It's Zayt's region.
However, like back then, I really truly believe Saf was the guy.
He was. He was the guy. Like if you were back around it, because that's what always happens when people have these conversations about the GOAT stuff, and like Saf doesn't get mentioned. People who were back then, who maybe aren't as active now, think like, what? Why do people not forget? Because Saf was the guy. Like, and because even if you look even earlier than like when they started winning lands, like Saf was always in like the best teams from day one, whereas Zayt was on Llama Lords, but then he went to NRG, and that NRG team like wasn't good with like Kaysen and all that. Like they weren't that good, right? So like Saf was always like that, but then he stopped doing well in solos when the game, and that was also at a point where the game became less closed off as well, because back then like it was still quite like everything was still quite gate kept. There weren't as much competitions, but when like there was more open format stuff and he stopped doing well in solos, it was just like went downhill.
Also, when Squads was out, like nobody was talking about anybody except Zayt IGLing on that team.
Exactly.
And Trios was just like a weird season for them.
High Sky being High Sky.
High Sky season, baby.
And Commandment clutching, right? That was the thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Commandment, I really, even though we just talk about all this scented stuff, like without being able to do anything about it, second place curse for them could happen again, man. Could happen again. I'm not saying anything that is proving to me that they have what it takes to win yet. They're winning like duo cups, bro. Like duo cup third party tournaments. No thanks. That doesn't do anything for me.
If the Discord servers are up and Clix is also in the grand finals, then too soon. All right, my bad, dog.
Yeah.
I cope with humor.
This will be the time that they don't have to. In my mind, I don't think they're gonna have to deal with reverse 2K Day and Miro, so they don't have that block, to get up against. They don't have that. And bro,
reverse 2K Day and Miro are playing together, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm detached like a week
they're playing
from
together.
Social media, so,
they're playing together. Even though reverse 2K right now is in a funk, man. He's not enjoying the game. He's not, because not getting respect from your teammates is just like, he literally said like last night, he just ranted. Dude, when he was playing SCS, dude, everybody was triggering him. I don't know. He was saying like, like my teammates don't want to play with me. I'm in Virginia. Like it was real bad. So anyways, I'm assuming that trio's not going to do well. That combined with like the ego of who was it, Miro, that I was talking about last time. I just don't think this is the season for them. So we'll see. That is a storyline to follow.
This might be the season where it all crashes down.
Yeah, every time we say that shit, they just win. So
no, like, I didn't say about that last season.
No, I'm not like anytime there's anything left negative, like
yeah, that's true. I do feel like that.
The win condition is the public just needs to assume they're going to lose.
Because even though it wasn't like, because nobody was questioning the dynamic last season, but people were like, this whole like, oh, always one of them left alive to clutch or something like that can't keep going. Like they need to fix that.
I just started that thing like that was off the cuff, and then everybody fucking ran with that shit, bro. Like,
I know, bro. But that is what happens.
What a shitty narrative.
We have a lot of listeners, bro. We have a lot of listeners. Now you know what? Yeah,
all the fucking we have 5 listeners, bro, and it's all the casters on the fucking FNTASIA broadcast fishing for their storyline. Sancho West, I see you, bro. I fucking see you writing down your notes about what I'm saying. I'm just making shit up just like you, my friend.
Yeah. Bala just like sounds the best when he makes the shit up. So you're like, nah, he must be telling the truth, right? Like,
if you want to listen to somebody, go listen to Coach Timmy, all right? If you're looking for real facts, real hard facts, I'm trying to get the juice, you know?
Timmy be capping, man. Timmy be capping.
Oh yeah, okay. On some bullshit, yeah, he be capping with the solo stuff, but he when it comes to like actual meta and stuff, I think I honestly think he had a real good point when he was talking about Seti Kamitik. I didn't talk about it when we were talking about him, but like he was high on them. Anyways, NA still. Any other things?
Put some respect on Reverse, man. Feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, I'm putting respect on him. I just like all the situations right now is scary to me. Everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, last time we talked about this is like a while episodes ago. Mega Dubs or O'Kane. Like, when will they get respect of actually being a team worth to talk about, or like just a good team in general?
When they win FNTASIA.
It has to be this season. This will be the season that if they can repeat and do very well again this season, then people will start looking at them. But unless they're winning unless they won FNCS last season or something else, it wasn't going to be last season. I'm not paying attention to that trio. Basically, right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
I do want to see how Bugha's trio does, because Bugha is somebody, he just needs to win an event again, I think.
This has to be the season, because he has the biggest competitive advantage compared to anyone else. You will be calling out his skin, and then people might think that you're calling out his trio and whatnot, and he's going to be the only one not suffering from it. You know what I mean? So, like, in terms of call outs, he has an innate competitive advantage no one else has.
Yeah,
that's actually lit. Hey, man, riding the momentum from that'd be really cool. Like, imagine that he'd be back on Jimmy Fallon, wins FNCS after Icon Series.
While wearing his skin.
His skin. Damn. That should be crazy. Now, that has to be saved for, like, All-Star December or whatever it is.
Yes. end of season for 4th FNCS.
Yeah, there's another one after this as well.
There's another FNCS and then there's an All-Stars.
Yeah.
Where is the time to fit all that?
Last year was November, December.
What are you talking about?
3rd and 4th.
We're in month 7 of the year. What are you talking about right now?
12,
but this finishes.
This finishes in look at your screen. Look at your screen. It finishes August 29th.
It finishes end of August.
And then the next one usually
finishes September 4th. You can't even look at the screen, bro. September 4th.
I'm looking at it, bro. 4th.
So it finishes
September. It was my bad, man.
It finishes September. Then there'll be like a month break. So then we'll come back like mid-October.
Yeah, and things will ramp up and start in November and then end in December 3rd, 4th, like it does usually every year. Because I vividly remember canceling my flight for the 4th and 5th or the 3rd in chapter 1 when there was supposed to be a broadcast. Tears, dark zone times.
I'm gonna have to do FNCS from America.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to come in December.
Oh shit! Oh, let's go. Yeah. Wait, just like as a vacation or what?
Yeah, visit family. You know, all my family's they've all moved from Ghana to America.
Dual cast, bro.
Yeah,
Trio
through.
pass, guys.
I'm not coming all the way up there. But
He said up there. It's like fucking. It's not even like.
Come on,
Anyways,
I'm not going all the way up there, man.
One thing to note with the dates, potential for ruination in the FNCS. Quals week 1 to 2. Do you think the community can survive an extra week of not playing and having drama with each other before splitting and trying new trios in qual week 2? Because the bye week is usually after the 3rd week or in between semis and finals.
or it doesn't exist because they have an issue.
Yeah. For some reason it's after qual 1, which I just find like perplexing.
I still
Yeah,
just want to know
perplexing.
why. Why is it after week 1? I just
Oh
don't-
wait, I know why, because I just saw this on Twitter. The whole concert is going on that weekend.
There's
Oh
a
yeah, I was
concert.
actually going to talk about. Yeah, they
An
announced the
Ariana
concert.
Grande concert
It's
in
Ariana
game.
Grande. But okay, can I just say, I don't want to be that guy, right? You know, Travis Scott, massive. The upgrade is not Ariana Grande. Numbers wise, yes, because she's bigger than Travis Scott. But the upgrade from Travis Scott is not Ariana Grande. It's just not. I like Ariana Grande, though, so I'm gonna be in game and I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna be eating my ass off. You know, I will know all the
Thank
the
you.
songs.
Next.
That was. Do you know what I mean? Like, did any of you think, yeah, they're gonna upgrade it? It's gonna be Ariana Grande. I didn't think that. I did not
Yo,
think
you
that.
guys have been
You know what I mean?
fucking. You guys have been
Yo, are
literally
you gonna giant Ariana
brainwashed.
Grande?
You guys
I
have
will
been.
let her step on me.
Jesus Christ.
What? What? Do you not remember when Travis Scott like was stamping on the thing? Look, if I'm in game and Ariana Grande, she comes stomping down with her boot, I'm not moving out of the way. Like, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god.
Oh, dude, this is so fucking funny to me. You guys have been brainwashed, bro. Remember the fucking Marshmallow concert? Everybody's like, "Oh, it's so cringe. Fortnite kids are going to concert together in game." Not us, but like in general, everybody.
Okay.
And everybody's like, "Oh, I resent that. Oh, that shit's like fuck you guys. We went to a concert." Now you guys must like every time the Travis Scott does the good times. No, remember when we had a concert?
yeah, no, but that's the problem.
You guys are so
you can't
fucking
sit there, bro.
brainwashed.
No, I have been.
Oh.
I have been brainwashed because the Travis Scott shit was one of the best experiences of my life.
This is just so
I have
fucking
been
funny to me.
brainwashed. Like if they're gonna put on
That was pretty
a
good.
production the scale of Travis Scott, because that's the thing, they've not said that. Flipping, now we're talking about flipping Fortnite concerts. Look, if it's gonna be on the scale of the Travis Scott thing, I will go to every single performance of it. Like you know how they split it across the days. I will go to every single one.
Oh, that's 24
that
hours
scale.
of concerts.
Yeah.
I just like the news breaks. You guys finally find a time to talk about it. And you guys both fucking get up like little schoolgirls fucking talk. I want to go to the concert. Let's go. Like it's so fucking crazy.
No, but okay, but that was my initial point though. Like I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that it was Ariana Grande. Do you know what I mean? Like I thought, do you know what I mean?
Who did you want? Who did you want? You want Drake?
Drake?
Yeah, Drake. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
Just
talking
give me
about.
Drake. Like it
Yeah.
should have been Drake. It should have been Drake.
Look at you fucking guys. Let's end the
It
episode,
should have been
please.
Drake.
Oh, right foot up, left foot slide. You already know what it is. Keep yourself. Know yourself.
You're not gonna do any plugs?
We started from the. Oh yeah, yo. Listen to the podcast on Spotify.
You don't even
If
know
you
what
made
the-
it.
Oh my god. Yo guys, comment because we only have 12 comments in the
I'm-
episode. We gotta
I'm
pump
literally
that
about to-
shit up.
I'm about to
Okay.
get there, bro. If
All right.
if we hit 20 comments, I will do the top rated comments TikTok dance under this video. But you not only have to recommend, follow me here. You not only have to recommend a TikTok dance for me to do, you have to have something insightful to say about what we talked about today as well. If you don't, your comment won't count. So,
Yeah, you know, I think Mongrel's going to have a phenomenal season. You look at the way he's improved this. Can you do the WAP as well, please? That's all
has
the
to
comments
be-
are going to be.
the comment. So minimum, we get 20, and I will do it with 11 on screen. Baller will record.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Very
Let's
good,
go. Let's
very
go.
good.
I,
That being said,
my thing about the plug was like you're always like, yo, listen on Spotify. We're not trying to incentivize people to go listen on Spotify. We're just trying to, you know, just give them the option. Hey, that is there if you want. You know.
yeah. Guys, there's an
Share the
option.
podcast.
There's an option
There
to
you
listen
go.
on Spotify.
There you go.
But really,
If you are
interact-
listening on Spotify, you can come to YouTube and comment so you can get shouted to the WAP and like the video.
it doesn't have to be the WAP. Like, please just choose anything else. Like,
It's gonna be the what
literally
now.
anything else.
It's gonna be the what now.
Yeah, comment, just like the video, and like, dude, like literally look at this graphic on screen. 94% of you are not subscribed. Like, you got to subscribe. Like, you know how it goes, and tell your friends about it. If they're complaining in game, if you're in your box, just like play an episode. Like, it's not that complicated. And yeah, with that being said, start from the bottom, now we're here. And